All he does is cast the simplest summoning spell, and yet it leaves the Dragon King's son completely frozen in shock, because the immortal goblin, a creature said to exist only in legend, turns out to be nothing more than his personal butler. Even the top-tier mage he considers his greatest treasure, the man treats like nothing more than a piece of furniture. Only now does he realize who he just picked a fight with, the one and only person in history to have defeated the Demon King. 30 years ago, the man was summoned to another world overrun by monsters. To survive, he fought dragons again and again, countless times, and through those battles he forged a power that surpassed the dragons themselves. In the end, through sheer determination, he brought down the most powerful Demon King of that age. But the very moment he defeated the Demon King, a blinding white light sent him straight back to Earth. What he never expected, this world had been invaded by monsters too. Right now, a squad leader is struggling to push back the monsters with his team. Pushed to his limit, he leaps into the air and unleashes his strongest move, a surge of electricity crackling into a blazing spear. Then, a flash of light catches everyone's eye. In the next instant, every monster around them has its neck sliced clean off. The lightning-fast strike leaves the squad leader standing there, speechless. The rest of the team break into cheers. The leader just wiped out that many belts in a single move. But to their surprise, the leader shakes his head. That wasn't him. He scans the area, but there's no sign of any other Awakener unit deployed here. He falls into thought. As far as he knows, there's nobody in this country that powerful, and whoever it was didn't even bother taking the magic stones, the most valuable thing left behind. He turns his head and spots something nearby, a restaurant right here, completely untouched by the attack. He lets out a small laugh. That lunatic only carved out the belch chest meat and left one wrong move, and those monster corpses could have crushed the place. The owner of this restaurant is seriously lucky. After they leave, I push open the door and step inside. I pull out a frying pan and set it on the stove. Then I lay the fresh belch breast meat I just got onto the cutting board. I'm genuinely excited. I didn't expect to score this much quality ingredient in one go. Just as I'm thinking about how to cook it, someone knocks on the door. He tells me he's with the Awakener Association, checking if I suffered any losses in the belch attack. I rub the back of my neck. Things like this I'm used to them by now. A second later, his nose starts twitching. He's caught a scent. The rich aroma hits him instantly, snapping him out of his dull, tired state. When he finds out I'm the owner, his stomach lets out a loud rumble, and he asks if he could maybe grab some breakfast. I shrug and wave him in with a smile. The moment he steps inside, he freezes. The interior is stunning, like something straight out of a TV drama. He looks around but finds no menu, so I explain we only cook with whatever I picked up that day. I turn back with a smile and tell him today's dish is belch steak. He blinks, visibly caught off guard by the name. The ingredients must have come from those things. There were a full 10 of them. Good thing the squad showed up in time. Looks like the remains have already been sent to market. I drop the ingredients into the pan and tell him those things are deadly, sure, but the flavor is absolutely unmatched. That moment brings back a flash of memory. In the 30 years I spent in that other world, I saw monsters until I was completely sick of them. Their traits, their weaknesses, how to take them down, I know all of it by heart. But now, I find myself hesitating. Do I really need to step up again? Lost in thought, I finish the dish without even realizing it and set it down in front of him. He jumps to his feet, eyes wide. He only wanted a quick bite, but this looks incredible. In no time at all, the plate is spotless. As he's leaving, he tells me to stay safe next time monsters show up, make sure I hide. He hands me his card and says if anything comes up, I can always come find him. He seems like a decent person. Not that I need protecting, but still. The sky darkens quickly. Business went well today, and I'm thinking about having a quiet drink. I'm about to whip up a snack with the belch eggs I bought earlier, when a man suddenly bursts through the door. He shouts, "So you're here. I finally found you." I'm confused. I don't think I've done anything to anyone, but he says he's here to take back what belongs to him. Just a few hours earlier, I had headed to the market to pick up ingredients for tomorrow. Ever since the monsters arrived, livestock and fresh vegetables had become their food, but humans discovered that the meat of some monsters was surprisingly delicious. As I was browsing around, I spotted a man selling a whole spread of monster eggs. He told me they were all certified by the association, though even they couldn't tell what would hatch from each one. I activated my Eye of Insight right away. It's a divine artifact I obtained from the Silver Dragon King in that other world, one that lets me see through to the true nature of any target. Information materialized over each egg in front of me. Nothing special, just ordinary eggs. I picked a few of the better ones and was about to pay. Then, one egg in the corner caught my eye. No information appeared above it at all. Curious, I bought that one too. Back at the restaurant, I cracked them open without wasting any time, and made a dish I could only get back in that other world. It reminded me of the days on the battlefield, sharing the same meal with my companions. Soft belch eggs with fresh hoar cow milk, absolutely divine. After eating, I suddenly remembered that one undetectable egg I had set aside. As far as I know, dragon treasures are divine artifacts formed naturally from the power dragons are born with. Perhaps that's why, while these artifacts are devastating against others, they have no effect on fellow dragons, which means this is very likely a dragon egg. Never thought I'd find one sitting in a market stall. I'm still thinking about how best to cook it when that man suddenly barges in. He immediately starts yelling at me, and honestly, I have no idea what's going on. I activate my Eye of Insight, and again, nothing shows up. So I ask him straight, "You're a dragon, aren't you?" That stops him cold. He never said a word about what he was. So there are dragons in this world too. That's a surprise. I thought I was just overthinking it. Seeing me mutter to myself, he erupts with fury, scorching flames flaring up around him as he roars, "How do you know my true identity?" I tell him calmly I have the Eye of Insight. The only beings it can't read are dragons. That stops him short. How could a dragon's treasure end up in the hands of a human? And why is this person so calm after finding out what he is? I have no interest in dragging this out, so I tell him to take the egg, but first, he cleans the soot off my ceiling. Just as he's about to calm down, his eyes land on my cookware made from blue dragon scales, and the cutting board carved from dragon bone. The rage surges back. Dragon scales flicker across his face as he snarls, "You killed members of my kind." In the next instant, a torrent of blue dragon fire comes blasting out of his mouth straight at me. I grab the frying pan off the counter and deflect it without breaking a sweat. Then I charge at him, pan in hand. Looks like this one only listens when he's being hit. Before he can react, one swift smack sends him flying. That single strike brings back a memory, the same overwhelming presence he felt 30 years ago. Back then, that man had taken on his father alone and sent him crawling away in total defeat. The realization hits him like a lightning bolt. The man standing in front of him is the one who defeated the Demon King in that other world, and he dared to pick a fight with him. Satisfied that he gets it now, I tell him clean up the mess you made, and the dragon egg is yours to take or leave. And I'll be straight with you, I've got no particular fondness for dragons. So if you step out of line, my fists will do the talking. As reluctant as he is, the pressure I give off leaves him no choice. He picks up the rag and starts scrubbing the soot off the floor. Through our conversation, I learn he's from the Iceband continent, the same other world I used to be in, and just like me, he arrived here through a dimensional rift that suddenly opened not long ago. So that continent and Earth are now connected. No wonder those monsters all look so familiar. When he confirms I really am from that other world, something clicks in his mind and his scrubbing picks up speed. In no time, the blackened floor is spotless. Just when I think he's about to grab the egg and leave, he stands up and hesitantly says, "After you killed the Demon King, why didn't you return my father's treasure?" So his father is Flame Dragon Rex. No wonder the resemblance is so strong. I tell him to come closer, I'm not going to hit him. The ones who wouldn't listen back then, they needed a good beating before they'd behave. I tell him straight the dragon made knives and cutting board were gifts. I fought dragons, yes, but I've never killed one. As for your father's treasure, it was destroyed when I fought the Demon King. There's no way to return what no longer exists. I invite him to sit down and have a talk and ask, "Do you drink?" That seems to irritate him a little. As a dragon, he has an enormous tolerance for alcohol, thank you very much. And yet, after only a few bottles, he's face down on the table, completely drunk. He then tells me that Egg is his little brother. A dimensional rift had opened in their dragon nest not long ago, and their parents were both away at the time. So that's how you ended up as a lost kid from another dimension, huh? Then he asks me, genuinely puzzled, "Someone as monstrous as you could pacify this tiny world in an instant if you wanted to. So why are you hiding away running some useless little restaurant?" I tell him I'm done with all that so-called fighting. Even if I wiped out every last monster, humans would just turn around and slaughter each other anyway. He has nothing to say to that, just keeps rocking the dragon egg back and forth in his arms. Then suddenly, the egg flies right out of his hands. A burst of brilliant light floods the room, and through the glow I can barely make out something moving in front of me. I look closer, the egg is hatched into an adorable little white dragon. She waves her tiny arms at me excitedly, wriggling with pure delight. Khan then tells me she's a girl. Looking at this the tiny creature. In my arm, she's barely bigger than a fist, yet she's already got teeth. Wait, are dragons omnivores? I ask Khan where he plans to take her. He doesn't have an answer. I smile. Even if you're leaving, at least eat first. I quickly put together a beefsteak using the breast meat. The little one digs in with pure delight. Afterward, I ask Khan, are you going to head home? But he just sits there, visibly uneasy. I ask what's wrong. He stands up and asks, can they stay here for a while? I turn him down flat. I understand being in another world must be lonely. I always thought dragons were too proud and arrogant for that sort of thing. When I say no, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a magic stone, a tier 4 magic stone. From what I know, that's worth a considerable amount in this world. I have to cover my face to hide the laugh. Right on cue, the little one's stomach starts rumbling loudly. I get her some more food. Fair point, even a dragon would struggle to take care of a hatchling alone on Earth, so I agree to let them stay for a few days. No need for the magic stone, but he insists, too embarrassed to take it back. Fine, I take it. Then I raise one finger, dark energy swirling at the tip. Before his stunned eyes, I tear open a rift in space. Out steps an immortal goblin. Hello, hello, king of the world. It has been quite a long time since you last opened the subspace. Seeing Khan's confusion, I explain the goblin manages everything stored inside my subspace. Good to see you, but stop calling me that. How many magic stones are left in the subspace? The goblin tells me the stones inside are beyond counting, like grains of sand on a beach. If we're only talking high tier ones, 5 top grade magic stones and 120 high grade ones. I hand Khan's stone back to him while he stares in disbelief. Then I tell him, starting now, I hope you can help me out around here. The next morning, I skewer the meat onto a spear and have Khan breathe fire over it at just the right heat. After some careful work together, we produce a skewer of meat so perfectly roasted it makes your mouth water. He then asks about the long sword I just took out of the subspace. That's not an ordinary weapon, is it? That would be the sword of Leikafi, the life's work of a dwarven craftsman. There's nothing better in existence, though using it as a skewer beats letting it collect dust in a corner. Just then, there's a knock at the door. The Awakener Association worker from before steps in. Hey, came for another meal during my rounds today. After eating, he tells me a new dungeon has appeared near the subway between Sinchon and Daisomon, so they're recruiting Awakeners over in the Daisomon area. A dungeon, simply put, is a breeding ground for monsters, a gate formed through a dimensional rift that pulls beings from other dimensions into this world. Daisomon is currently under the protection of the magic spearman and his squad. Sinchon is guarded by the Ice Witch, Cheon. Word is they're worried about being short-handed, so they're forming a support unit. The plaza is packed with volunteers today. After finishing his meal, he heads off quickly to get back to work. After closing up, I head to the market to pick up some Atar tiger loin. I spot the squad the man mentioned. They're out recruiting volunteers for a dungeon raid, so this must be the level 2 Awakener magic spearman, Jin Senghu. These days, dungeon clearing teams are called dungeon raids, a term borrowed straight from old video game systems. With the world turning as fantastical as any game, people just started using the vocabulary they already knew. And the similarities don't stop at the names. Tanks and healers are scarce, while damage dealers are a dime a dozen. Maybe it's because offensive abilities come in more varieties, so most people happen to awaken as damage dealers. The result, even if you can deal damage, unless you truly stand out, finding steady work is tough. When I get back to the shop, a man shuffles in looking uneasy and asks if we're still open. I tell him we're technically closed, but I can make him something. He says instant noodles are fine. Then he asks how much is a bowl. When I tell him it's cheap, his face lights up and he orders 5 bowls. That catches me off guard. I quietly activate my eye of insight to take a look at him. His ability food god, and his nature aligns toward good. I had a companion who was a food god back in my time. I know exactly what this class can do. A food god's power grows in proportion to how much they eat, and the quality of ingredients matters just as much. When they consume high-grade monsters, the effect is nothing short of extraordinary, but the ability is very weak early on. Until they've consumed powerful monster meat and grown from it, they can barely do anything. They're also in a constant state of hunger. Things only improve once they hit a certain threshold, and this man is clearly nowhere near it yet. I get to work preparing an oversized bowl of instant noodles, piled high with roasted Atar tiger meat. Good people never seem to catch a break. In a world like this, the kind ones are always the first to fall. I know that all too well. If his nature weren't good, I'd have looked the other way even with a food god standing right in front of me. His mastery level is high tier. The Atar tiger meat should do wonders for him. As he stares in surprise, I tell him the shop gives a special deal to the first customer of the day to bring them back. With that, he digs in with huge hungry mouthfuls. In no time, every last bit of it is gone. As he reaches for his wallet, something falls from his coat and hits the floor, covered in dust from head to toe, yet he's carrying a brand new tie. Is he trying to look presentable for someone? It's not long before we cross paths again, this time because of a gate going out of control. That day, a massive gate appears in the sky above the city. The people below erupt into chaos. The man tells a security officer his ability as food god, no special skills, but he's physically very strong and asks if he can be of any use. The officer turns him away flat. This dungeon is not simple. Regular awakeners are useless here. Then he suddenly spots his daughter. She's treating wounded people on the ground nearby. She notices him at the same moment, standing blocked at the barrier. He shoves the barrier aside and rushes toward her. What are you doing in a place this dangerous? Why aren't you at school? She explains she heard there were many wounded here, so the school sent support type awakeners to help. Dad, what are you doing here? I can handle myself. Just go. Your only ability is eating. You can't help anyone. All you do is eat and work and never even come home, and now you're standing between me and the people who need help. Is this your idea of looking out for me? She pushes him aside. Go find shelter. Besides, I can earn a scholarship for being here. The tie slips from his pocket and catches her eye. Wait, you don't even own a proper suit. At that moment, the SWAT emerges from inside the gate. They address the crowd. Dungeon clear complete. Good work, everyone. All healers, please come this way for emergency treatment of the wounded. Mijin turns immediately and heads toward the nearest wounded person. A class, simply put, is the category of ability an awakener possesses. Awakeners can raise their proficiency to reach the master level, a process that spans 5 stages. In this world, system academies have replaced traditional schools, designed specifically to help awakeners build their proficiency. Once an awakener's innate class reaches master level, they can choose a second class based on their environment and their own will. If both classes reach master level, they earn tier 1 or above standing within the Awakener Association. Needless to say, for the average person, that's far easier said than done. So if your awakened ability has limited use or your proficiency grows slowly, you're better off finding something that suits you from the start. In that final battle, my 6th class reached master level. After that, no sign of a new class ever came. I suppose that was my limit. Just then Khan comes rushing over holding Juju. Excited, apparently Juju shed her skin and started talking. And sure enough, out of her tiny mouth comes, Abba, Abba. I'm genuinely surprised. I didn't expect her to be speaking this soon. I've heard that dragons are born with a master level class. What's Juju's? I don't know either. We'll have to wait until she grows a little more. At that moment, the man from before walks back in and asks, can he still order 5 bowls of instant noodles? When I ask what's going on, he tells me what just happened. Today I figured I might be able to join the squad clearing that rogue gate, so I went to take a look. That's where I ran into my daughter. She said treating the wounded in a place like that earns her a scholarship. I couldn't stop her, and I couldn't help her either. And since I'm just an ordinary level 7 awakener, she told me to go find shelter. But my daughter, young as she is, she awakened a healing ability, recognized as tier 3 for her talent, and she's a top student at her academy. Speaking of which, that tie you saw last time, I bought it when I heard her school was holding an open day. I originally planned to buy a full suit, but it was way too expensive, so I just managed to scrape together enough for the tie. I keep thinking I probably shouldn't show up. I'm not the kind of father she can be proud of. I can't even afford to support her all the way through graduation. His stomach growls right as he finishes talking. The shame on his face deepens. I'm nothing but a useless glutton. But even so, I still have to eat because I need the strength to help rebuild the buildings that collapsed from the rogue gate. Hearing that, I walk over to Khan. Mind if I slice off a thin piece of your skin? He jumps back in alarm. What the have you just been waiting for me to fatten up so you could eat me? Then my eyes land on Juju's shed skin from earlier. An idea comes to me right away. Using the roasted Atar tiger meat and Juju's shed skin, I put together another oversized bowl of instant noodles. I set it down in front of him. We've got extra meat today, consider it a bonus. He thanks me, then digs in again, mouthful after mouthful. When he finishes, he turns and gives me a deep bow. Thank you for letting me vent, sir. Just as he's about to leave, I call out to him. Living is never easy. That's exactly why even one good thing, just one, is enough to keep a person going. But even so, for the people who push through every single day, good things do find their way to them every once in a while. Please give everything you've got got tomorrow too. You're always welcome here. After he leaves, Khan peeks out and asks, how come he hasn't changed at all? I've done everything I can. Eating a dragon's shed skin that'll make a real difference, just not right away. So you knew how valuable that was. But why help him like that? I reach over and gently pat Juju in his arms. Because sometimes my father used to walk away with that same look on his back. Back home, he carefully opens the front door. Mi Jin is already asleep on the living room couch, and she's brought his tie back home with her. Tears trace silently down the corner of her eyes, and in a small, barely there voice, she murmurs, Dad, I'm sorry. His heart aches. He reaches down and gently strokes her hair. It's okay. If anyone should be sorry, it's me. I'm sorry I couldn't give you the life other kids have. I'm sorry you've had to hold your head down in front of your friends. But Dad has always loved you. I'll work even harder, I promise. Once he tucks her in, he rushes back outside without a moment's hesitation. Breathless, he signs up for the task of entering the gate to collect magic stones. The next morning, a noisy crowd has gathered beneath the gate. Jin Sang-hoo hurries over to a squad member and asks what's happening, only to learn that a hidden boss has appeared inside the gate, causing it to be locked down. Mi Jin comes running over at the same time, frantically searching for her father. Inside the gate, the squad moves at a relaxed pace, taking in their surroundings. Jin Sang-hoo tells everyone not to spread out too far, keep an eye on each other while picking off the smaller monsters. Then suddenly, a monster lunges at the man from behind. On pure instinct, he swings his fist and sends it flying. He can't believe it. His body is surging with strength he can't explain. He should be hungry right now, so why doesn't he feel it at all? Just then, a woman nearby stares wide-eyed at something. The dungeon wall, completely intact just a moment ago, has split open with a massive crack, and from that crack, an enormous claw steps through. The moment people see what it is, they go dead still. It's the hidden boss from inside the dungeon. The squad scatters in every direction. When a hidden boss shows up, most of the small monster cleanup crew don't make it out alive. A female squad member grabs a man's arm, urging him, run, follow her, now, the other direction. But he stops. The small monster he just killed dropped a magic stone. One look and he knows that's a tier 8 magic stone. Sold at market, that's a full week's wages. With that, he could buy Mi Jin a decent outfit. Better food too. Without a second thought, he charges toward it. But just as his hand is about to close around the stone, the hidden boss opens its jaws wide and comes crashing down on him. One direct hit sends him hurtling through the air. In that moment, on the edge of death, a vision rises Mi Jin as a little girl, smiling up at him the way she always used to. But as she grew up, his uselessness piled pressure onto her shoulders, and it's been so long since he last saw her smile like that. That thought snaps his eyes wide open. He forces himself up off the ground, body screaming. He can't die here. He can't leave Mi Jin alone in this world. He gets to his feet and meets the hidden boss's next strike with a bare fist. In that instant, he levels up, and when his fist connects with the monster, there's no pain. His stomach isn't screaming with hunger either. For the first time in his life, he feels a power he's never known, and for once, exerting himself doesn't send hunger clawing through him. He blocks every single one of the monster's attacks, one after another. Jin Sang-hoo leads the squad into the gate and calls out, has everyone else evacuated? Where's the hidden boss? What he finds is the man alone, holding back a tier 2 hidden boss. Jin Sang-hoo watches with intense interest. He wants this man on his squad. Meanwhile, I've been quietly watching every move the man makes. A food god's ability reflects incoming attacks directly back at the attacker. So while everyone assumes food gods are damage dealers, they're actually much closer to tanks, what you'd call a combat tank ability. By Awakener standards, his ability is worth at least tier 3. The problem is, nobody ever figured that out. Once I watch him make it safely out of the gate, I head back to the restaurant at ease. After the incident, news broadcasts keep running reports on the gate event. The man who stood alone against the boss's ultimate attack of food god has been recognized as a tier 3 food god and named the top contributor in this dungeon raid. The Awakener Association has acknowledged the previous rating as an error and will correct it promptly, along with issuing a substantial reward. The broadcast continues, a rampant thief has been giving merchants in the Dazeman area serious headaches. The thief apparently has a particular fondness for shiny objects and food ingredients. The most notable incident so far, a large number of low-grade magic stones vanished right off the market shelves. Just then, the man walks in with Jin Sang-hoo. He's officially joined the raid squad now. Jin Sang-hoo and the man both order the instant noodles he's grown fond of. While I'm cooking, the two of them chat away cheerfully. They seem to get along well. After finishing his meal, the man heads out first. He's walking Mi Jin to school. Jin Sang-hoo then asks if I carry any drinks. Drinks? Sure, but we only have soju and beer. Soju then. For the snack, just make whatever you think fits. I decide to put together a sashimi dish using what I picked up at the market today. Ever since monsters came through the dimensional rifts and brought the monster age to the land, the situation in the oceans has been just as bad. The fish that were everywhere on Earth 30 years ago are nearly impossible to find now. This one's called a jimin fish. Fully grown, it can reach over 3 meters. The one in my hands right now is just a small fry, but its flavor is close to grouper or flounder. I used to think sashimi wasn't worth the price, felt like a luxury item, so I never cared much for it, but once I actually tasted it, I couldn't find anything more delicious. I finished quickly and set the dish down in front of him. Your sashimi, eat it together with the seaweed underneath. He looks a little uncertain but picks up a piece anyway. The moment it hits his tongue, the flavor is rich and clean all at once, and the subtle refreshing taste of the seaweed beneath it is a perfect match. He feels the weight of exhaustion just melt away, and if you knock back a shot of soju right before you swallow, even better. He then tells me this is his first day off in 2 years. Every single day for 2 years I've been clearing monsters the same exhausting battle, over and over. Honestly, I'm worn out on the inside. Monsters keep pouring through the dimensional rifts without end. I haven't had room to breathe. He gestures to his weapon and tells me it was issued by his academy upon graduation, given to tier 2 and above awakeners. It's forged from Edmund alloy, with extraordinary magical energy absorption. Before long, the soju does its work, and he starts drifting off to sleep. At that very moment, a legendary creature, a 9-tailed fox, appears in the skies above the city. Feeling threatened, the Awakener Association sends Jin Sang-hoo and his squad to eliminate it. But after fighting with everything they have and finally bringing down the 9-tailed fox, they find a sleeping fox cub cradled in its arms. Only then does Jin Sang-hoo understand. The creature was simply trying to protect its child in an unfamiliar world, so he keeps it secret from the association and everyone else, and quietly moves the cub somewhere safe. Now sober, he grabs something and heads to the hill behind the city. He opens the bag. It's leftover sashimi from earlier. The little fox picks up the scent and trots over, nose twitching as it sniffs the food. Once it decides the food is good, it digs in eagerly. Jin Sang-hoo sits nearby, shaking his head. What a terrible guardian he turned out to be. How many magic stones did you steal to grow 3 tails this fast? You made the news, you know. He grabs the cub and looks it dead in the eye. I can't keep letting you run wild. The association is about to make a move, but after a moment's thought, he sets it down. You should leave the city. Find somewhere quiet to settle down. The cub cries out at him over and over. Jin Sang-hoo squeezes his eyes shut, struggling to hold firm. Then he spins around and shouts, just go! Get out of here! The outburst startles the little fox, but once it understands, it starts searching for a new place to call home. Then a figure catches its eye. It turns and nearly jumps out of its fur. Juju is pressed flat against the glass, peering outside with wide, curious eyes. Curious, the fox creeps closer, carefully approaching the chirping Juju. It reaches out a paw and pokes Juju's cheek. Soft, so soft. The fox decides this must be one of its own kind, and if they're the same, they might as well be friends. When I push open the door, I find the two of them bouncing happily side by side at the window. The moment it spots me, the fox darts behind Juju in a panic. So it's you. No wonder I sensed a 9-tailed fox near the hill. I ask if it wants something to eat, but it shakes its head. I smile. A violet glow drifts from my hand. Looks like you've already eaten somewhere else. I run my finger through the air and the goblin butler appears before me. After greeting me, he blinks in surprise. There's a 9-tailed fox cub right here. I tell him to pick out one of the magic stones at random. I toss it toward the cub's nose. A rank 1 magic stone should do wonders for your growth. In one bite, it crunches through the stone. A surge of power floods through its body. It glances back at us with a reluctant look. The magic stone has done its work. Its tails burn a vivid fiery red. Then, amid Juju's tearful goodbye, it leaves. The next day, Ice Witch Che-yun is summoned to association headquarters by the director to discuss urgent matters. I hear all the mandrakes have vanished. What do you make of it? Mandrakes are plant-type monsters that grow underground. The moment they sense danger, they release a toxin across across a 1 kilometer radius, one that only a specific antidote can counter. That is why they are classified as monsters. And even with the antidote, removing them is no simple task. Their screams can instantly kill low-ranked awakeners and ordinary people alike, and they scatter seeds as they die. Chaeyon tells the director, all 13 mandrakes have vanished without a trace. No sign of anyone approaching the site. It is as if they walked away on their own. The director bursts out laughing. What, did the vegetables grow legs and run off? Then he turns serious. I'll contact Shadowcat. The two of you can investigate together. Meanwhile, Juju wakes up in the early morning and stretches with a big lazy yawn. She notices I'm gone from my spot, so she pads over to my bed and tries to wake me up, but I'm dead asleep. No matter how many times she tries, I won't budge. Then her stomach lets out a rumbling growl. She's hungry. So she heads to the kitchen, drags a chair over, and climbs up to reach the fridge. Sure enough, there's food inside. But as she holds it, something feels off. The food seems to be trembling. Then it lets out a piercing shriek. Juju shoves it straight into her mouth to muffle the noise. But the taste, let's just say it's not great. She spits it right back out. By the time we wake up, the entire fridge has been emptied. Juju is sprawled out in a food coma. I'm genuinely impressed. This little one can really eat. Anyway, Khan, where have you been sneaking off to lately? Khan explains he's been investigating the conditions that cause dimensional rifts to form. He's quietly visited several dungeons, but found nothing beyond the usual monsters common to the Iceband continent. Come to think of it, aren't you a monster too? That gets a rise out of him. Dragons are a noble race. Don't you dare put us in the same category as those things. That makes me think. If that's the case, dragons or something even more powerful could be crossing through the dimensional rifts into this world. If you find anything suspicious while you're out there, let me know right away. He looks puzzled. You have 6 master level classes. Can't you do something about the rifts yourself? No, and I have no idea who created them or why they appeared in the first place. I tell him I'm heading to the market later today. Meanwhile, the Ice Witch is out searching for any trace of the mandrakes. Suddenly, a flash of green light streaks down from above. She snaps into a combat stance, ice crystallizing in her hands, but the figure that appears simply reaches out and touches her cheek. So you're Sinshan's Ice Witch. The visitor is Li Jiafei, the rank 1 awakener known as Shadowcat. She tells Chaeyon, I've had a look around. Nothing. Not a single trace. Recognizing who she is, Chaeyon tenses up. Hello, Shadowcat. Drop the formalities. Just call me Li Jiafei. So you're Sinshan's guardian? You're adorable. Relax, relax. How long have you been stationed here? The tension eases. 10 years, Chaeyon answers. Chaeyon tilts her head up, staring at the sky. She passed through a warded area without leaving a single trace. So this is the power of a rank 1 awakener. And according to what she learned at the academy, Li Jiafei reached rank 1 30 years ago. So why does she look so young? After a brief exchange of introductions, Chaeyon shyly extends her hand and the two shake. Chaeyon walks Li Jiafei through the whole situation. Li Jiafei then asks who set up the barrier in the first place. Someone who can slip through a rank 4 barrier without leaving a mark. That puts them at rank 3 at minimum. Li Jiafei suggests they start by looking into the mercenaries operating in the city. Chaeyon mentions that the nearest mercenary group is the Temple Mercenary Corps in Daesaman. Li Jiafei grins. Let's grab a meal there first. It's been a while since I've seen Jin Sang-hoo. Let him pick up the tab. Back at home, Khan is nuzzling Juju's face with a look of pure affection. I catch the whole thing. Khan's face goes red and he whips around. Stop watching. I call him into the kitchen to help me prep. When he spots the mandrakes in my hand, he frowns. Where did you get those? Found them on a walk. Figured I'd bring them home. They're full of cold energy, so they have a cooling effect on the body. The texture is crisp. The taste surprisingly sweet. Perfect alongside either hot or cold dishes. Today, I'm using them to put together a proper summer meal. After a little wait, the samgyetang is ready. That's when voices of delight drift in from outside. Jin Sang-hoo walks in with Chaeyon and Li Jiafei in tow. A place like this actually exists, and that smell. Khan just stands there stone-faced. I nudge him in the side, a reminder to smile and greet our guests. Sorry about the tagalongs, Jin Sang-hoo says, then nods toward Khan. Is this one staff? I wave it off with a smile. Any guest who walks through my door is welcome. He's my nephew. I just finished some samgyetang. Care to try some? Li Jiafei speaks up. I'm vegetarian. Don't worry about me. I bring out the samgyetang along with a side of mandrake pickled radish. The moment they take a bite, their eyes go wide. This drumstick is incredible. And this pickled radish, the crispest, most refreshing thing I've ever eaten. Watching the two of them eat with such joy, Li Jiafei turns to me. Do you do vegetarian dishes? I don't have many vegetarian options, I tell her, but we happen to have watermelon. Would you like some? Her eyes light up. Perfect. I'll leave it to you. There are so many ways to enjoy watermelon. Eat it fresh, freeze it, or blend it into juice. All of them delicious. But today I'm going a different route. First, I scoop out the flesh and cut it into bite-sized pieces. Then I bring out extra fruit. I'm partial to strawberries and kiwi, so I chop both and layer them into the hollowed out shell. I pour in a splash of sparkling soda, then toss in a bit of mandrake. The watermelon fruit tea is done. A feast for the eyes, nose, and taste buds. The moment it hits the table, both women lean in. Chaeyon reaches out and ice pours from her fingertips, dropping straight into the drink. I'm genuinely impressed. Jin Sang-hoo leans over. She's the Ice Witch, guardian of Sinshan. Chaeyon flushes at the title. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of that nickname. Jin Sang-hoo grins and explains. Every year the academy holds a battle royale event. During one of them, Chaeyon snapped after her opponent wouldn't stop provoking her. She froze the person solid and summoned a full blizzard. The name stuck after that. Everyone at the table burst out laughing. Chaeyon waves her hands frantically. That was an accident. I turn my attention to the other woman in the room. The aura around her. She's at guardian level or higher without a doubt. More than that, she's strikingly beautiful. Since leaving the Iceband continent, I've never seen anyone with looks quite like hers. Almost too beautiful to be real. After they leave, Khan sidles up beside me. That woman was unreal. No human should look like that. You're right, I tell him. She's an elf. My eye of insight picked it up. She possesses Ghost Step, an ability only elves can learn. But don't elves have pointed ears? Could she have recognized us? It's just as I feared. Monsters aren't the only ones crossing through the dimensional rifts. Other races may have arrived the same way and blended quietly into life on Earth. For all we know, someone could already be plotting something in the shadows. As the investigation drags on, the sky slowly darkens, and they come up completely empty. Nothing. Jin Sang-hoo turns to Li Jiafei. Since the mandrakes vanish without a trace, shouldn't we just write this off as some new natural phenomenon? I've got things to do too. No witnesses, no victims, nothing on the market, and frankly, no one in this country could uproot a mandrake without making a sound. If even Shadowcat can't find a lead, the truth might be stranger than we think. If someone stole them, there's no way we'd have found nothing. You never know. What if someone just ate them all? She pauses. It's summer, but it feels oddly cool today. Li Jiafei nods. Now that you mention it, the air really is cool. No hard evidence, just a gut feeling. But I'm certain something is happening in this city. I'll report it to my superiors and hand it off to the researchers. Jin Sang-hoo lets out a long sigh. He made the whole trip to the Temple Mercenary Corps for nothing and came back with shocking news instead. Cheon Taejong, captain of the Temple Corps, has retired. The next morning I wake up and scan yesterday's newspaper. The Temple Mercenary Corps captain led his squad and held off a southern monster attack in just 5 hours. Just then, Juju comes toddling over, legs flailing as she tries to climb up. I pick her up and her stomach immediately starts rumbling. Of course, she's hungry again, but deciding what to make for breakfast is always a dilemma. If we're going to eat, it should be something worth eating. Life is short, 3 meals a day, every one of them a chance to enjoy something truly good. I squeeze Juju's soft cheek. Though your life won't be short at all, will it? Before long, the belt egg rice bowl is ready, with mandrake mixed in from yesterday's haul. The aroma is irresistible. Before they know it, both of them are digging in with full bites, but once Juju is full, she dozes right off again. I glance over at Khan. Is it normal for her to just eat and sleep like this? We should be able to find out her class soon. This is part of the process. Young ones at this stage eat and sleep constantly. It's how they grow. We're about to find out what master level class she was born with. I have to admit, I'm excited. Not long after the food god walks in, No's already following the smell of the food. There are other things on the menu, but what he really wants is the instant noodles I make for him. So I bring out his usual bowl. He takes one bite of the pickled radish and his eyes go wide. This is absolutely divine. I smile to myself. He has no idea it's made from mandrake. Then he asks, have you heard what's going on with the Temple Mercenary Corps? Captain Cheon Taejong has retired. The whole team is taking it hard. Speaking of which, 10 years ago Daesaman was hit by a monster attack. Even now, just thinking about it makes my knees go weak. That was Jin Sang-hoo's first year as magic spearman, and that same year, 4 of the 5 guardians died fighting the siege. Qian Taejong was ranked only as a rank 3 awakener, and yet he saved every last person in Daesaman during the monster siege 10 years ago. Just as I'm about to close up, Jin Sang-hoo walks in, with a man beside him. One look at the man and the word that comes to mind is veteran. It fits him perfectly. I'm about to start on dinner when Jin Sang-hoo tells me something's come up and heads out. It doesn't take long. I set a full meal in front of the man. He takes one bite, and his expression softens. This tastes exactly like home. Then he tells me, he's the captain of the Temple Mercenary Corps. It's been a long time since he's been back to his homeland. 30 years ago when monsters first appeared, the world called it the Great Exodus Era. Cities fell, countries crumbled, countless lives were lost. He was still in his homeland when it all began. In the chaos, he stumbled upon a sword, and in that moment realized he had become what people now call an awakener. So he gathered the awakeners from his home and led them out to face the monsters pouring from the rifts. That was the beginning of the Temple Mercenary Corps. He led the guardians and helped put the world back on its feet. 10 years ago, just as people were finally settling into the new world, City A erupted. What would now be classified as boss-level monsters swarmed the city all at once. That was the monster siege. Jin Sang-hoo had just taken his post as magic spearman. He was struggling to hold back the monsters, but this man in front of me split them in two with a single sword strike, and to save Jin Sang-hoo, he lost his left eye. From that day forward, Jin Sang-hoo made this man his goal and kept helping others the way this man had helped him. I ask if there's anything he regrets. He tells me to protect others and simply to survive each day. We cannot afford to make mistakes, because when we do, people die, and those people might be someone else's dream, someone else's hope. That hits me. No wonder Jin Sang-hoo carries a maturity far beyond his years. He learned it from this man. But chasing perfection wears a person down, and yet that very weight is what forged the next generation into something great. After the meal, he tells me it's been a long time since he's spoken his heart to anyone, and he'll be back. The next morning, I jolt awake from a deep sleep. I turn to find Khan pressed against the wall, wide-eyed with alarm. What happened? He glares at me. You're radiating killing intent so thick you could choke on it, and you're asking me what's wrong? That's when I realize my body is still on edge. Damn it, the war ended 10 years ago, and yet the nightmares still come. Is it because of what I heard yesterday? The story of the monster siege 10 years ago? I have a bad feeling about this. It doesn't feel like coincidence. I step outside to find Juju sprawled on the ground, scribbling wildly with colored markers. She really is just a kid. I pick her up. I really can't bring myself to scold her. I pat her on the head. I'll make fried chicken today, but you have to clean up all that scribbling first. Got it? Then I head to the market and come back with a full bag of chicken. The streets outside are buzzing today, lively as a festival. That's when a noise catches my attention. In the distance, a golem comes striding into view, and every head turns at once. Li Jiafei, who happens to be nearby, spots me watching. She walks over with a greeting. Here to take a look? Through our conversation, I learn the golem's name is Org, a manned golem built from magic stones. The Eisben continent had these too. Powerful, but the weaknesses are just as obvious. It cannot perform fine movements, so it excels against massive monsters, and struggles badly against small, quick ones. And not just anyone can pilot a manned golem. The reason is simple. The pilot must withstand the raw energy released by the magic stones. There are awakeners born with a physique that can handle it. Those who hold the golem masterclass. It's a remarkable ability, but the costs involved are staggering. Few could ever afford it. I turn and let her know I need to head back. Li Jiafei grins. Expect to see a lot of me at your place. I push open the door and find something unexpected waiting inside. A blue spirit is hovering beside Juju. I look over at Khan. Where did you find this spirit? He can barely contain himself. I've confirmed it. Juju's master level class is Elf Tamer. I deduced it from the color of Juju's scales. My mother was a blue dragon, and the blue dragon clan's waters once overlapped with the red dragon clan's mountain range. The spirit scoops Juju up into its arms, and Juju keeps chirping mama mama over and over. Khan shakes his head helplessly. Looking at the spirit before me, I realize it's been a long time since I've seen one outside of combat. In battle, a high-rank spirit's power is terrifying. The principle behind summoning spirits is straightforward. You call them from the spirit realm, a separate dimension. Whether high, mid, or low rank, their names follow a unified system. I have never seen anyone summon a spirit king of any element, so high rank is probably the ceiling, which means counting the demon realm where the demon races dwell, the spirit realm, the Eisban continent, and Earth, there are already 4 known dimensions in this world, and 2 of them, the Eisban continent and Earth, have already begun to connect. The more I think about it, the more my head spins. Anyway, did you actually teach Juju how to clean? But before I finish the sentence, the water spirit casts a spell, and the floor is spotless in an instant. I head to the kitchen and start preparing today's main dish, fried chicken. 30 years ago, this country went through a full-blown fried chicken craze. Every possible variation was invented and perfected during that era, but among all of them, only one reigns supreme, the classic original, the foundation of every style that came after. Once it's done, I hand a drumstick to Juju. One bite and her eyes go wide. She starts babbling in that little language only she understands, clearly beside herself with joy. Then, right before our stunned eyes, she buries her entire face in the drumstick and goes absolutely wild. In no time at all, even the bone is crushed and swallowed. She flops onto the table and lets out a satisfied belch. Lucky I knew this would happen and fried a little extra. I pull out another batch and crack open some beer to go with it. We sit back, eating and watching the fireworks outside. The festival at the market is still going strong. It's Juju's first time seeing fireworks. She wriggles with pure delight in my arms and legs going everywhere. Come to think of it, is Juju getting bored, cooped up in this restaurant all the time? I turn to Khan. When will she be able to use her transformation? Now that she's awakened her class, it shouldn't be much longer. I can't wait. Once Juju can transform, I'm going to take her shopping and buy her all the pretty clothes she wants. Meanwhile, the man from the festival pilots Org back to the base and gets to work improving the golem's remaining functions. He walks into the changing room and finds Li Jiafei sitting there waiting. After a brief exchange, he asks her about the restaurant she mentioned earlier. Where exactly is it? It's in Daesaman. Have you heard? Captain Qian Taejong has retired. Jin Sang-hoo must be feeling it. I hear the captain went back to his homeland. What a shame. He's a good man, but honestly, he's earned his rest. Li Jiafei's expression dims. I wish I had a homeland to go back to. The next day, I slip on a necklace that can sense magical energy and quietly tail Jin Sang-hoo from the air. I've been curious what kind of place would require Jin Sang-hoo's entire squad. It's the Magic Crystal Mine dungeon. Properly managed, that place could fuel rapid growth in a short amount of time, but I doubt they'll have that luxury. I can already sense an overwhelming magical presence from within the dungeon. The thought barely finishes forming, and the sky in the distance tears open. A red gate blazes into existence. Boar monsters pour out in waves. Jin Sang-hoo reacts instantly, ordering his squad into a defensive formation. The food god steps forward and holds the front line. Jin Sang-hoo leaps into the air, ready to unleash his skills from above and cover the squad. Then he sees it and freezes. A massive surge of energy is building inside the gate. A boss is coming. He snaps out of it and shouts for someone to pull the fallen squad members to safety. But the sheer number of boar monsters pins the squad down. No one can move. He has to make an impossible choice. To protect the remaining squad members and the workers, he needs to fall back and reinforce the rear. But if he does, what happens to the ones being crushed by the boar king at the front? Do I save the greater number? The hand gripping his weapon begins to tremble. Qian Taejong said he lived with regret every single day. How many crossroads like this one did he stand at? Full of anguish and doubt. It brings back the words the old man said when he saved him. You must be terrified, panicking. Every part of you wants to run, but that is exactly when you have to take a step forward. If you retreat now, you will spend the rest of your life doing the same. The memory steadies him. His eyes go hard. I move forward. Listen up. Our people are still out there. I take the lead. Everyone else forms up and pushes through. He moves like a bolt of lightning, sweeping the boar monsters, blocking his path clean off the field. Then he winds up and launches a fully charged strike straight at the boar king. The blow tears through everything in its path. But right behind it comes another boar king, just as ferocious. He's running on empty. All he can do now is pray the association notice something wrong and is sending backup. Then, at the very edge of crisis, a blinding flash of light tears through the air, and every monster around them vanishes on the spot. He doesn't know what just happened, but he hauls the food god to his feet and shouts for everyone to get out of the dungeon now. I let out a slow breath from where I stand in the distance. I told myself I wouldn't get involved, and yet here we are, but no one in this world can trace it back back to me. They'll lose sleep over the mystery, and that's fine. On another note, Jin Sang Hu was rank 2 before this. That battle pushed him to master level. Country A now has its 4th rank 1 awakener. Right on cue, my stomach lets out a long growl. Right, food first. Back home, I head to the balcony and start setting up a barbecue. Juju, who had been fast asleep in Khan's arms just moments ago, suddenly opens her eyes. A blue magic circle appears in front of her. The water spirit bursts out, douses the fire instantly, and soaks both of us completely in the process. Juju proudly pats her own chest, waiting for praise. I dry off, grab more firewood, and start the barbecue again. Over the meal, I ask Khan, still investigating dungeons? Today I saw a herd of boar monsters in the Magic Crystal Mine dungeon near the commercial district. Combat type ones. Boar monsters are a species that evolves based on their environment. I pick up the thought, but the way they've grown here is on a completely different level. Those tusks, nothing I saw on the Iceband continent comes close. And when that gate opened, the energy I sensed, it wasn't from the Iceband continent. The dimension connected to Earth might not just be the Iceband continent. There could be others. Something is happening in this world that none of us anticipated. Back at the Awakener Association, Jin Sang Hu reports to the director everything that happened. A flash of light and every monster vanished, including the boss level ones. The director has no answer for it, but he offers Jin Sang Hu a firm congratulations. His class has reached master level. Have you decided on your next class? Jin Sang Hu answers without hesitation. Iron Heart. Iron Heart grants an Awakener 2 lives and delivers a massive leap in the body's overall durability. At master level, the entire body becomes as hard as steel. I can't keep throwing my life on the line like that. We got lucky today. Any worse and we could have lost everyone. If I can develop Iron Heart into a combat tank ability, then the next time something like this happens, at least I can buy everyone time. On his way out, he turns the memory over in his mind. That light. There was no malice in it. If anything, it felt warm, gentle. Something in him had wanted to move toward it. The Belth incident felt the same way. Is this truly just some inexplicable force, or is someone out there watching over them? For now, all I can do is hope that whatever that power is, it never becomes our enemy. Then, out of nowhere, Khan asks me, do I actually hate the Demon King? Memories from the past come flooding back in an instant. Back then, I did hate him. When I was first summoned to the other world, it was my friends and family who helped me slowly adjust to that new life. But every single one of them was slaughtered by the Demon King's forces. With power in my hands, I went absolutely berserk, driven by one goal, to destroy the Demon King completely. The war dragged on year after bloody year. By the time the fighting finally ended, there was no one left by my side. Back then, I hated the Demon King with everything I had, but later, I found out the truth. The Demon King had also been forcibly summoned against his will. He was just like me, trapped on the unfamiliar Azbon continent, with no way out. Khan is stunned. There's actually someone in this world who can summon the Demon King? Then how did you make it back? I spent 10 full years searching every corner of that world, completely alone. Just when I was on the verge of total collapse, a dimensional rift opened, and on the other side were the skyscrapers of the modern world. And just like that, I came back. I figured no one would ever believe something that absurd. But Khan says, I believe you. You've been through so much. Those words hit something I'd buried deep for half my life. Even now, a trace of hatred for the Demon King still lingers in my heart. But alongside that hatred, there's also something like pity. I know exactly how it feels to be stranded alone in a strange world. The nightmares never let me go. Every single night I dream of blood-soaked battlefields, the faces of everyone I loved, dying one by one. Those images torture me over and over again. It feels like a massive nail driven straight through my chest, buried too deep to ever pull out, tearing me apart from the inside. The only way I can keep going is to drown it all in alcohol and push through one more day. If I hadn't gritted my teeth and held on, I would have lost my mind long ago. Sometimes I wonder, maybe I already have. I jolt awake from yet another suffocating nightmare and find Juju curled up beside me. I have no idea when she crept over. I turn and see Khan too, folded into some ridiculous sleeping position. Looking at this peaceful little scene in front of me, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Calm. I've just started to settle down and reach for a cigarette when a strange old woman calls out to me out of nowhere. She asks me which direction the Arirong train goes, but I've never heard of any such train around here. The old woman turns and walks away just like that. I push my curiosity aside, making a mental note to look into it next time. For now, I hurry to open up the shop and get ready for the day. A regular customer pushes through the door right on time, greeting me with a smile and asking what's on the menu today. He's a bit early, so I tell him I'll whip up some fried rice to hold him over. I have it ready in no time and set it in front of him, but out of the blue he asks if I've run into Grandma Arirong. I tell him everything. The early morning encounter, all of it. In this heat, she was still wrapped in a scarf, fixated on finding the Arirong train. He lets out a quiet sigh. That's just how it is, he says. No one really understands what she's saying. She's a scavenger who collects scraps of paper. Her mind isn't always clear. She only comes back to herself every now and then. Life keeps getting better for most people, but the pain of the past never fades. Too many have lost those they love, and the weight of it has simply broken them. He says his piece, settles the bill, and leaves. This world is still in transition. No matter how much time passes, nothing can undo what has already happened. Every person who walks through that door, every stranger on the street, carries a pain no one else can see, and they keep going anyway. I sit with that thought for a moment, then let it go. Juju tries to transform for the first time. All she manages is a few silly tufts of hair sticking straight up on her head. Definitely a failure. Once you get the hang of transformation, it comes naturally, but that first attempt is always the hardest. Seeing this, I figure I'll try putting some clothes on her first. I pick out one of my own shirts, way too big for her. Better to wait until after she transforms and then get her something that actually fits. Juju tries the transformation again, and who could have expected? This time, it actually works. Seeing Juju in her transformed form, the joy that wells up inside me is impossible to hide. The moment she transforms, she immediately clings to me and burrows into my arms. Khan is practically bursting with pride. Mastering transformation this fast, that's our Juju for you. Time for a meal. I ask Khan to find Juju something to wear, while I plan to head out and buy her some proper clothes that actually fit, but the rain is too heavy, so I turn back and decide to use the leftover pork tenderloin to make sweet and sour pork instead. That's when I spot the old woman from before, sheltering from the rain in the shop's doorway. Her tone is completely different now, polite, almost formal, like a different person entirely. I invite her inside to get out of the rain, but she declines, her voice distant and detached. Left with little choice, I lend her my umbrella. She thanks me warmly, promises to return it, and asks if she can order a bowl of jajangmyeon. I tell her I need to check if I have the ingredients, but the moment I turn around, she's already gone. The relentless plum rain season wraps the entire city in a heavy, suffocating gray. The city broadcast loops on repeat, warning everyone to watch out for kelpies. Even the weaker ones grow stronger in the rain, so people are urged to stay indoors. This man is Jin Shun, the man golem operator from the last gathering. Ever since he came here with Li Jiafei, he's been coming back alone just to drink himself numb, day after day, drowning his sorrows. He's stuck deep in a romantic mess and wants to know how to win a girl's heart. 2 years ago in a dungeon, it was a woman who saved him from the hidden boss level monster, and his ideal type just happens to be a strong, powerful woman. I understand him immediately, because I have exactly the same taste. I too once met someone like that, the most powerful, gentle, and breathtaking person I've ever known, Miro Leikasi. Ever since that day, Jin Shun has been hopelessly in love, but the girl is cold and untouchable. I assume it's Li Jiafei, but he shakes his head. Not her. The girl he's after has told him point blank that she can't stand guys like him, and if he gets any closer, she'll make sure he doesn't see tomorrow. And the girl likes Jin Sang Hu of all people, which Jin Shun absolutely cannot accept, especially since those two are always fighting. After getting it all off his chest, Jin Shun warns me again and again. This is top secret, not a word to anyone. Then he orders another beer. The broadcast comes on again. The resting ground in northern Daesimon is undergoing urgent repairs. That place holds the dead. Countless people lost their lives there, and back then there was no way to properly handle all the bodies. In the end, they cremated the remains and built a public memorial wall engraved with the names of the fallen. Just then, the shop door swings open. In walks a strikingly cold woman, a level 2 awakener, the Blade Queen herself, Li Yunya. She spots Jin Shun the moment she steps inside, and immediately grabs him by the collar. You worthless fool! Drinking again? Jin Shun panics and doesn't dare say a single word back. He lets Li Yunya drag him right out the door without a fight. I've barely finished tidying up when even worse news comes in. Li Yunya has been dispatched by higher-ups to deal with a massive kelpie outbreak in the city center. The monster numbers are out of control, and civilian casualties are rising fast. A strong, unsettling sense of dread rises in my chest. Something something terrible is coming. I can feel it. The next morning, Juju is tiptoeing to reach the fridge, sneaking around for something to eat. Her control still isn't strong enough. Her wings and tails are completely visible. I figured no one would be around at this hour, so I completely let my guard down. I keep thinking Juju will have to return to the Icebound continent someday. I want her to try every good thing she can before then. Then a sound comes from outside the door. My heart leaps. I quickly shove Juju under the cabinet. I open the door, and it's that strange old woman again. This time she wants Jajangmyeon again, and she looks impatient and in a hurry, but her attitude is completely different from the last two times, more erratic than ever. I immediately activate my Eye of Insight. The scan shows she's a good person and not an awakener. What stands out is that she has dementia. That explains everything. There are too many people in this world who have broken under the weight of losing those they love, but not even the healing magic of another world can mend a wound like that. I let out a quiet sigh and turn to make her Jajangmyeon, but in that short moment, Juju slips out and gets spotted. The old woman stares at Juju's enormous tail with wide, curious eyes. I freeze. My heart shoots straight into my throat, but the old woman just smiles warmly. She takes Juju for a well-behaved little dog. She says Juju looks just like her dog back home named BQ. When Juju announces her own name, the old woman isn't frightened at all. She's absolutely delighted. Khan comes rushing downstairs, horrified to find Juju in the same room as a human. He's terrified it'll cause trouble. I shake my head to calm him down and tell him to stand watch at the door so no other customers come in. I get to work on the jjajangmyeon right away. The ingredients for jjajangmyeon are incredibly hard to come by these days. The dish itself has become a rare thing, especially chunjang brewed the traditional way. That's nearly impossible to find. Then there's the noodles. There's a noodle factory nearby, but she's in a hurry, so I have to use instant fried noodles instead. Stir-frying the chunjang is all about nailing the heat and the timing. Once the sauce is ready, it's time to cook the noodles. Fragrant stir-fried meat and onions, chunjang stirred in, thickened with starch, boar monster jjajangmyeon done. I carry the finished bowl over and set it in front of her. She taps her head and suddenly remembers. She needs it packed up to take to her grandson. I nod and ask her to wait a moment. I wrap it up quickly and remind her more than once, be careful not to break the bowl. Just bring it back next time you visit. She thanks me over and over, then pulls out a 1001 bill, something I haven't seen in a long time. Truly, it's been ages. After that, Grandma Aryung starts dropping by every now and then to take away packed jjajangmyeon. Each time it's for someone different. Sometimes she says it's for the grandfather at home, other times it's for her grandson. But she never remembers to return the bowls. I know she doesn't mean to, so I quietly place a bulk order for extra bowls, enough to keep on hand. Passing by the resting ground one day, I can't help myself. I step inside to take a look. I know full well there's no grave for my parents here. That's when I hear the caretaker scolding Grandma Aryung with barely concealed irritation. Turns out all the jjajangmyeon she's been getting these days has been left right here in the cemetery. It's been sitting long enough to attract swarms of insects, and sleeping out in the open like this, she'll catch something. If she doesn't clean it up herself, he'll have no choice but to do it for her. That's when I realize she's been living here all along, in the cemetery. She steps into a battered tent with a helpless look and quietly wipes the dust from a worn old photograph. In that moment, something clicks for me. People don't only smile when they're happy. When the pain becomes truly unbearable, most people can't even cry anymore. The deeper the despair, the more they force a smile to cover it up. So long ago I used to do the same. Fake smiles had become second nature. The rainy season drags on and on. Every time it rains, Juju lights up with excitement. But this rain is too heavy even for the market. Everything is forced to close, and there's no way to buy her new clothes. The way she loves the rain so much, she really is just like her mother, the Blue Dragon. The broadcast warns again, Kelpie sightings are increasing. Anyone who spots one should report it to the Temple Mercenary Corps or the relevant association immediately. The repeated warnings are setting off alarm bells in my gut. I tell Khan to watch the place, that gnawing, unexplainable anxiety making every part of me restless. And then I run out into the pouring rain. On the other side of the city, a Kelpie looms over the sleeping old woman, jaws wide open. Without a second thought, I fire an energy blast and blow its head clean off. My worst fear confirmed, but thankfully, I made it in time. The Kelpie had tracked her down by sniffing out the rotting jjajangmyeon she'd left behind. Then I hear Jin Sang-hoo's team closing in. By the time Jin Sang-hoo arrives with his people, I'm already gone. All that's left is a scene of destruction. Jin Sang-hoo stares at the scattered shards of low-grade magic stones on the ground. The massive water stains spread across the ground, telling the Kelpie that was just here must have been exceptionally powerful. Could it be that mysterious force acting in secret again? He can't figure it out, so he decides to focus on getting Grandma Aryung out of here first, in case more Kelpie show up. Grandma Aryung is barely conscious. Her lips move softly, murmuring the names of Yunho and the old man. A few days later, I look up as someone pushes through the door and instinctively start to say welcome, but the words catch in my throat. Grandma Aryung stands there, a little uneasy, and starts to apologize. All the bowls she took before ended up broken, so she's brought new ones as replacements. She's sorry for all the trouble. I wave it off quickly, but my eyes drift to the new clothes she's wearing. New outfit. Is she heading somewhere? Grandma Aryung gives a small nod but says nothing more. My chest tightens. In an instant, I understand what she's decided. Even if you're leaving, at least stay for one last meal. I decide to make her jjajangmyeon again. This time the shop is well stocked. I could use instant noodles like usual, but then I spot the low-gluten flour on the shelf. I change course and ask her, "Are you in a hurry this time?" She answers in a calm, unhurried voice. She says she's not in a hurry anymore. A warmth spreads through me. I tell her to sit tight. Today, I'm making real hand-pulled noodles. Proper hand-pulled noodles need a long fermentation. There isn't enough time for that today, so they'll come out closer to knife-cut noodles in shape, but the texture will be far better than anything instant. Before long, a steaming bowl of jjajangmyeon is set in front of her. She stares at the bowl. Her eyes go distant, like something from a long time ago is coming back to her. Back then, she worked the fields every day. It was hard work, but she was content. Her husband had a short temper, but underneath it, he was a good man. Later on, every week they would take their little grandson into town for a bowl of jjajangmyeon. She loved watching him eat more than anything. It filled her with a quiet, deep satisfaction every single time. But now, she can no longer picture their faces clearly. Those precious memories are growing blurrier by the day. She tries desperately to hold on, but she can't stop herself from losing them piece by piece. The fear of that is overwhelming. Juju seems to sense her fear. She rushes over and wraps her arms tightly around the old woman. The way Juju looks up at her is so much like her grandson. She asks, very gently, if she can feed Juju a bite of the jjajangmyeon. I smile and turn right around to make a fresh bowl. It's ready in no time. Juju insists sweetly that the old woman should eat first. The old woman's eyes soften with warmth, and she goes along with it. But the hand holding the chopsticks goes still. Meanwhile, Juju digs in and ends up with sauce all over her face. Watching Juju laugh like that, something stirs in Grandma Aryung's eyes. Before long, both of them have finished their bowls. Grandma Aryung asks me to work out the total. I ask her one more time, making sure, "Are you really leaving?" She nods. Her train, she says, the one meant for her, is almost here. I look down for a moment thinking. Then I decide, no charge today. I make up a quick excuse telling her the shop always treats travelers on a long journey for free. Her face lights up with quiet understanding. She thanks me again and again, then turns and walks toward where she is meant to go. The road outside the shop connects to countless different paths, each one belonging to someone else's story. There is the path of the father who fights with everything he has for his daughter, grinding through every day with his teeth clenched. There is the path of the veteran hero, worn down by a lifetime of battle, finally setting down that weight for good. There is the path of the man who falls head over heels, heart full to bursting with that rare and giddy feeling of first love. And today this road connects to one last journey, Grandma Aryung's final road home. I stand in the doorway and say goodbye quietly. The train begins to move. Grandma Aryung runs after it, almost on instinct without knowing why. She doesn't understand what's driving her. Then familiar voices call out from the train. Her children are all pressed against the windows, waving at her with wide, warm smiles. Her little grandson's bright voice rings out, calling for her, and in that instant, every memory she had lost comes rushing back. Those blurred faces sharpen one by one. Everything comes back. The door slides open, and a tall, familiar figure steps forward. "Old woman," he says, "you must have had it so hard." He reaches out to her with a gentle hand. "Come with me this time." Through her tears, she nods, and answers yes, with a heart full of joy. Shortly after, the caretaker finds Grandma Aryung's body at the resting ground. She is lying in front of her husband's grave, no longer breathing. This time, she finally found the Aryung train, and she got on. In front of her husband's grave sits a neatly packed bowl of jjajangmyeon. I hover hover out of sight above, and the thought settles over me. You can never hold back someone who is truly ready to go. I had the power to extend her life, but sometimes, forcing someone to keep living is the crueler choice. Meanwhile, inside the Jaekook office in City A, Jin Sang-hoo is certain everything that's been happening lately has something hidden behind it. Someone is operating in the shadows of the city, doing things that defy all ordinary explanation. Whoever it is exists far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Quiet, invisible, and completely mysterious. But thankfully, they don't seem to mean any harm. Then a thought flashes through his mind. An impossible name. Could it be Jaeger, the one who disappeared during the monster siege 10 years ago? But Jaeger died alongside the monster. Jin Sang-hoo saw it with his own eyes. Jaeger followed that self-destructing creature straight into the rift. He traded his life to keep countless others safe. If it isn't Jaeger, then could the association be hiding a zero-class awakener? He rubs his head in frustration, done with the guessing game. Ever since the Magic Crystal Mine dungeon incident, high-danger monsters have been pouring out of the dungeons in a steady, relentless stream. It looks exactly like the warning signs that came before the monster siege 10 years ago. He takes a breath, steadies himself, and decides to deal with the most pressing issue first. Right now, the biggest headache on his plate is Lu Xun, the younger brother of Jaeger, the level 1 awakener who gave his life in the siege. Inside the Awakener Association of Country A, the secretary hands the association director this quarter's graduation list. His eyes quickly land on what everyone is calling the top 3 newcomers, awakeners whose abilities far outshine the rest of the graduating class. The first is Kim Mi-jin, a level 3 healing type awakener with exceptional natural talent. She has a strong chance of advancing to level 2 in a short time, and her preferred posting is the Daesaman Zone, one of the most heavily pressured defensive regions in the city. Her father serves in Jin Sang-hoo's team, and they immediately recognize her. She's the daughter of the food god, but the Jaekook team guarding Daesaman already has a dedicated healer on staff, so she'll have to be assigned to the Gentleman Corps over in Seochu instead. The second newcomer is Lee Ju-myung, just 20 years old, a level 3 flame-type magic awakener. The Blade Queen's team happens to be short on damage dealers, so the timing is perfect. But the one giving everyone a real headache is the last of the 3, Lu Xun, a level 2 close combat awakener with staggering natural talent in real fights. His special ability, Wolf Form Human, pushes his combat power far beyond any awakener at his level. Special notes on Lu Xun. First, he is the biological younger brother of Jaeger, the level 1 awakener who went missing 10 years ago. Second, and this is the one driving the whole association up the wall, he has refused every assignment from the association. Instead, he's been going around challenging mercenary captains across every district. Whoever beats him, he'll join their corps. So far, he's already taken down the captains from 4 different districts: Sinchon, Hongtai, Seochu, Gangabuk, all of them defeated at his hands, and now he's heading straight for Daesaman. On my end, I'm picking out meat for spicy stir-fried pork. The leftover boar king meat from before has been completely used up. Atar Tiger and Belf both look good, but after a while I noticed just how much boar monster meat is piled up here. Has there been a surge in boar monster activity outside the city lately? Thinking back to the monster tracks I saw in the Magic Crystal Mine dungeon, a quiet unease settles in my gut. I need to go investigate. And soon. Just then the clothing shop owner waves me over enthusiastically. I point to a cute little outfit and ask if it would fit a small child. I'm planning to bring it home for Juju. Then a furious shout tears through the usual noise of the market. Lu Xun is yelling at the top of his lungs, demanding Temple Captain Jiang He come out and face him. Jiang He is the newly appointed temple captain, taking over after Qian Taejong's retirement. I take a curious look at this blonde-haired kid, wondering where he came from. A second later, Lu Xun announces himself. I'm Lu Xun, level 2 awakener, the man who turned his back on the association and chose to forge his own path as a mercenary. That cringe reflex of mine kicks in immediately. Kids these days, way too much flair for their own good. Lu Xun shouts again. If Jiang He can beat him, he'll join the temple mercenary corps. A member of the corps nearby loses patience and yells at him to get lost. But Lu Xun hasn't gotten what he came for, so he keeps pushing. Is the great and legendary temple mercenary corps actually scared? Now that Qian Taejong is gone, looks like they replaced him with a coward. That finally does it. Jiang He steps outside. He came out to see who had the nerve to throw around his predecessor's name like that, and when he sees it's just a kid, he can't help but look a little dismissive. He's not about to waste his time brawling with a boy. He tells Lu Xun to leave. Lu Xun sees the opening and twists the knife even harder. The tiger steps down and a fox takes the throne. That lights the fuse completely. A second later, Jiang He's blade has sliced clean through a lock of Lu Xun's hair. Jiang He's eyes go cold. He's done holding back. Lu Xun grins. Now we're talking. He shifts into his wolf form and gets ready to fight. Just as the two of them are about to clash, a spear comes flying between them. Jin Sang-hoo sighs with exhaustion. Not a single peaceful day in this city. He shouts at both of them to stand down. Not long after, Jin Sang-hoo arrives at my shop with both of them in tow, battered and bruised. I can't believe they actually went at it anyway. Jin Sang-hoo explains plainly. When men have a problem, fists are the only real answer. Using weapons or powers though, that's against the rules. A fight isn't always won by the strongest. Sometimes it comes down to experience, and the winner was clearly Jiang He. Then he asked me to bring out some soju and something fitting to go with it. I decide spicy stir-fried pork is the call. First I brush the hot wok with oil and lay in the pork belly, letting it fry low and slow. A lot of people pile this dish with vegetables. I can't stand that. Piled high with meat, that's the only way it's worth eating. With 3 big men sitting at the table, I go ahead and prepare 5 full portions. Before long, a sizzling, fragrant plate of spicy stir-fried boar monster pork comes out of the kitchen. Perfect. Jin Sang-hoo drops a quick line. Sort it out between yourselves. Pays for the meal in advance, gives me a quick nod, and heads out. After a beat of silence, Lu Xun drops his head and admits he lost. Per the deal, he'll join Jiang He's temple mercenary corps. But Jiang He's expression is stone cold. He turns it down flat and tells Lu Xun to get out. Lu Xun can't understand it. He's a powerful level 2 awakener. Why wouldn't Jiang He want someone like him? Jiang He tells him coldly. Don't overestimate yourself. Know where you stand before you start thinking you're something special. Watching Jiang He's sharp, no-nonsense manner, something stirs in Lu Xun's chest that he can't quite suppress. He's just way too cool. Lu Xun scrambles after him, calling out for Jiang He to wait up. I watch the two of them disappear down the road and can't help but laugh. The next generation of the temple mercenary corps will grow into something truly powerful, but as they grow stronger, so does whatever is lurking in the shadows. The frequency of dungeon outbreaks has been rising fast enough to see with the naked eye. I'm more certain than ever. I'll need to go investigate before long. What a shame though. A full table of spicy stir-fried pork, completely untouched. Early morning. Juju wakes up. She remembers what she was told. Always wash up before sleeping and after waking, so she summons the water spirit right away and gets herself cleaned up in no time. She glances over at me, still fast asleep. With a generous heart, she reaches out and gently pats my face, helping wash me up too. Then she changes into her little dress and races downstairs to find something to eat. But what she finds instead is a dimensional rift. Juju has never seen one before. She's immediately fascinated. She reaches her hand in out of pure curiosity, and the next second she vanishes on the spot, pulled in completely. All that's left behind is one small shoe sitting alone on the floor. Inside the dimensional rift, Juju is having a great time exploring. Then a ferocious minotaur steps out and blocks her path. Juju stares at it blankly. There's a cow in here? The minotaur is absolutely furious. Eyes red with rage, it charges straight at her. Juju commands the water spirit, and a massive surge of water explodes outward in an instant, wrapping the minotaur completely and locking it in place. The minotaur is completely stunned. This child's power, it's at least master level. Nobody could have expected a child to handle spirit power this advanced with such ease. The more the minotaur thinks about it, the more panicked it becomes. It decides this terrifying little girl has to be eliminated. But just then, a fist punches straight through the wall and lands a brutal uppercut right on its jaw. I let out a tired sigh. Finally found this little troublemaker. Raising a kid really is no joke. I calmly say hello to the thing on the ground. The minotaur is still spinning, but the moment it sees my face, it starts stuttering in fear. Its memory turns out to be better than any dragon I've ever known, and I remember it just as clearly. It used to move alongside the Demon King. The minotaur frantically tries to deny it, terrified of ending up on my bad side. I don't bother with words. I grab one of its horns and crush it and wait for the truth. When the Demon King fled back then, it followed. But 10 years ago it wandered into this maze and never found the way out. It doesn't know much about the demon realm's current state, only that when the Demon King returned 10 years ago, he fell into a deep and unending sleep. I run my eye of insight over its words. It's telling the truth. The Minotaur is shaking, convinced I'm here to take over the demon realm. I said it straight, calmly. This isn't the demon realm. This is Earth, the human world. In that battle long ago, the Demon King never actually died. To have any chance against him, I mastered 6 different masterclass professions. Even with me and the Ice Emperor Dragon fighting at full strength, the best we could do was force him into a semi-permanent death state. And then fate had to go and twist the knife. A dimensional rift suddenly tore open, and the Demon King used it to slip right through our hands. This Minotaur may not be at Monarch level, but it's still a genuine boss level monster. If it made it to Earth, stronger things may have already followed. A loud rumble from Juju's stomach cuts through my thoughts. I laugh despite myself and decide to get her out of here first. Then a thought strikes me. I turn back and ask the Minotaur for a favor. Back at the shop, Khan catches the smell of meat and wonders out loud what I've been cooking. He calls my name several times, and when I don't respond, his voice keeps climbing with worry until he finally tells me the soup in the pot is boiling over, and that snaps me back to the present. I smile and tell him the timing is perfect. I get him to sit down for breakfast. Juju already ate and is back asleep. I made oxtail soup today. The run-in earlier put the idea in my head, so I made a special trip to the market. As I talk, I keep stuffing chilies in my mouth. Nothing beats this when stress hits. Khan looks genuinely puzzled, apparently convinced these strange red things must be some kind of rare medicinal herb. One bite, and he's gagging, eyes watering like he might actually cry. Then a gentle voice drifts in from outside, softly asking if anyone's there. A girl wearing glasses steps inside. She smiles and says she runs a flower shop nearby and came by to introduce herself. She holds out the flowers she's carrying and says they're a small gift for the shop, but the very next second the aroma hits her, and she asks if there's any meat being cooked. When she hears it's oxtail soup, her eyes light up. She can't help herself. She begs to have a bowl before she goes. I say yes without hesitation and ask her to wait while I go to the kitchen to serve her a bowl, but then she spots the chilies on the table, and her expression shifts completely. How could anyone put vegetables on a plate like that? It's practically criminal. And the next second, the chilies on the table literally stand up and try to make a run for it. The onions on the cutting board start rolling away too. The commotion draws everyone's eyes. The girl panics immediately, knowing she's just accidentally revealed her ability. I activate my eye of insight right away and see straight through to who she really is. She's a rare plant regeneration ability awakener, someone who can make plants grow rapidly and even move freely on command. On the Icebound continent, a master level plant ability user could lay down a vine wall with just a handful of roses, enough to hold back an entire army. I gently point out the problem. Making the ingredients run away is really putting me in a difficult position here. I've met plenty of vegetarians in my time, but someone who is this fiercely on the side of vegetables, that's a first. Just then, Li Jiafei walks in and orders a salad. Li Jiafei spots the girl instantly and calls her by name, the flower wielder. The girl tries to brush it off, but Li Jiafei doesn't let up, pressing her, demanding to know why she left the gentleman corps and is hiding out here. The girl's composure crumbles. Through her distress, she admits the truth. She made a mistake and was thrown out of the team. The dungeon was filled with plant-type monsters. She couldn't bring herself to fight them and ran, and as a result, their tank got hurt. Li Jiafei's voice is firm. She tells her, when you make a mistake, you own it. You don't run from it. You don't hide in some flower shop at the end of an alley, just because it's the place you grew up in. Running away never solves anything. Hearing this, the girl feels a flush of shame, and finally makes up her mind to go back and face what she did wrong. She stands up and calls me over for the bill. I don't take her money. Instead, we make a deal. She'll pay with seeds suited for planting. The girl agrees on the spot, as if she's finally received someone's approval. Just then, a familiar figure appears in the doorway. The moment the girl spots the gentleman corps captain, her entire body goes rigid. The captain informs her that a new dungeon has appeared. Time is running short. The girl stammers and can't get a word out. His expression hardens instantly. If she truly wants to quit, she can file a formal withdrawal request. Flustered, she explains that she's only afraid of holding everyone back again. The captain gently reassures her. Everyone makes mistakes, himself and the lady included. As long as she corrects them, that's enough. Without another word, he takes her with him and orders her back to the team. Time is tight. There's no room to drag their feet. Before leaving, he makes a point to promise me he'll come back for a proper meal next time, and reminds Li Jiafei to pay the bill. Always happy to have the business. Come back anytime. Li Jiafei watches them go and can't help grumbling. What a hassle. Then she notices someone lurking in the corner. Why is my nephew hiding over there? Khan is caught red-handed. He panics and stammers that he wasn't doing anything. Li Jiafei sets down her payment, says her goodbyes, and heads out the door. Once they're gone, the shop falls quiet again. I turn to Khan and ask what's gotten into him. Khan's face is bright red. He murmurs with a dazed look. That girl is really something. Then, with all the seriousness in the world, he announces that he has fallen head over heels in love. I ignore him and head into the labyrinth. With the towering walls torn down, the space feels wide and open. I take a careful look around and start studying how this labyrinth's unique ecosystem operates. At its core is a special weathering system, and the entire place is lined with crystals crafted through magic stone engineering. The technology is remarkably advanced. I consider taking the device with me, but it's been permanently fixed in place. Move it even slightly, and the magic inside will drain away. It would be a real shame to let all this go to waste, especially with so many willing workers right here. I ask the Minotaurs what they mainly grow in this dungeon. One of them gives a simple, honest answer. Plants. I grab it by the head, speechless. Only then does it specify apple seed fruit and pineapple. Apple seed fruit looks like a walnut but tastes like an apple. Sweeter, crunchier, and far better. Pineapple has a soft outer skin. I nod satisfied and tell them to plant the new seeds I brought as well. These were given to me by the flower wielder. Lettuce, cabbage, and carrots. Just as I'm about to explain how to grow them, I notice a storehouse nearby. It's packed with everything they've collected over the years. Stepping inside, I see it clearly. Piles of seeds and sealed high-grade weapons. All of it was plundered during their invasion of the Icebound continent. Something catches my eye. I activate the Eye of Insight immediately. It's the legendary Seas Tier, the supreme treasure of the merfolk who rule the North Sea of the Icebound continent. The Seas Tier holds a miraculous power. It can grant the deepest, most genuine wish of whoever holds it. Legend says it once fell into the hands of a poor farmer, conjuring endless rice for him. It was later seized by force by a greedy, wealthy man. He fled out to the open sea by ship. In his greed, he wished for the Seas Tier to produce an endless supply of salt, a precious commodity at the time. The gem granted his wish. Salt kept piling up until it filled the ship to the brim, and the overloaded vessel sank straight to the bottom of the sea. It sounds like a fairy tale, but every bit of it actually happened. The gem can produce a special sea salt, perfect for a restaurant like mine. Before I leave, I remind the Minotaurs to eat well and build their strength. They may need to tend far larger field in the future. The Minotaurs respond eagerly. The moment I'm gone, they all let out a long breath of relief. Horns can grow back, but the fear, that never fades. Back then, I beat the Demon King to within an inch of his life. To recover, he had no choice but to sleep for a full 100 years. And then there's that mysterious dragon blood girl, terrifyingly powerful. She can even bend full-grown dragons to her will and keep them at her side like servants. The more the Minotaur thinks about it, the more terrified it gets. Convinced I've already quietly taken over the world and am now setting my sights on the demon realm. Their only hope, the Demon King, has been asleep for only 10 years so far. Given all that, the safest move is to work as hard as possible to please me. Once that logic clicks, it's fired up, fully recharged and ready to get back to work. Meanwhile, Shadowcat arrives at a gate. It's the largest gate discovered so far. The dungeon inside must be enormous. Past experience says the bigger the gate, the more dangerous the dungeon, and the stronger the monsters guarding it. But what she sees stops her cold. A dungeon this massive, and it's completely empty. The sky turns dark and heavy, as if ready to swallow something whole. Yet inside the city, nothing stirs. Shadowcat makes the call without hesitation. Fall back. This place is not safe to linger in. She classifies the anomalous dungeon as 0 grade. Back at the restaurant, Khan is acting out of character. He's dressed in formal clothes, even wearing a tie. Once he's ready, he comes downstairs and asks me how he looks. Is it too weird? Satisfied with my answer, he shuffles nervously and asks whether Shadowcat will come in today. She comes in every day without fail. Today should be no different. Sure enough, the door swings open the very next moment. Li Jiafei walks in, same as always, ordering her usual salad. I acknowledge the order and head to make the salad. The moment I look away, Khan bolts. Out of nowhere, he produces a single rose and drops into a bowl right in front of her. Li Jiafei is thoroughly amused. She turns him down with a simple excuse. She doesn't date anyone younger than her. Khan refuses to give up and asks how old she is. She doesn't answer, and Khan nearly blurts out that he's a dragon. I catch the moment just in time time, cut him off, and haul him away by the collar. The way he's acting, anyone would think something's off. I feel a little guilty for the trouble, so I decide to make it up to my customer. I bring out the Sea's Tear I just acquired. It has the power to restore a person's strength. I use it to produce sea salt and sprinkle it over some watermelon to bring out the sweetness. Before long, the salad and watermelon, seasoned with the Sea's Tear salt, are ready. Li Jiafei takes one bite and is instantly amazed. The exhaustion in her entire body just melts away. She feels her strength fully return. Grateful, she warns me to be careful. A level 3 alert is about to be issued. A level 3 alert is the lowest tier warning, but it still means a tier 1 boss monster will appear. A level 2 alert means at least 2 tier 1 boss monsters, and a level 1 alert hasn't been issued since the monster siege 10 years ago. But this situation feels strange even by those standards. Guardians and top rank awakeners are all stretched to their limits. Right then, a call comes in on Li Jiafei's watch. She silences it, then gives Khan a gentle compliment. He's sweet. She hopes he finds a good woman someday, and with that she gets up and leaves. Once she's gone, Khan can no longer hold it together. He knows he's been rejected. Is it really so strange for a dragon to fall for an elf? Hearing that, I can't help but think of someone. She once told me to stop sacrificing myself, to live for my own sake. Then she fell into a deep sleep, drained by everything she gave to help bring down the Demon King. Looking at it that way, Khan and I really aren't so different. Khan's ears perk right up at that, suddenly very curious. But then a familiar scent hits me, the smell of blood, a smell I remember from 10 years ago, from the great battle against the Demon King. High above the city, a female vampire appears. She gazes down at the world below with cold indifference. Commanding her vampire army, she unleashes them to tear into the awakeners below. Jin Sang-Hu barks the order, everyone into Delta formation immediately. Hold the line at all costs. No one hesitates. They respond in unison and pour everything into the defensive formation. But the next second, droplets of blood begin falling onto the barrier. Each one transforms into a vampire. The solid barrier is torn apart in an instant. At the critical moment, Zhang He arrives to back them up. Even he has to admit, a zero-grade dungeon is more terrifying than anyone imagined. The vampire gazes at the humans before her. Her eyes are full of contempt. Pathetic creatures, every one of them. The temple mercenary corps arrives one after another. Everyone braces for a battle to the death. The vampire unleashes a thick wall of mist, blinding everyone around her. Jin Sang-Hu shouts a warning. Everyone stay sharp. Someone strikes from behind. Without warning, Jin Sang-Hu barely dodges. She spins around. It's one of her own. Jin Sang-Hu's heart is still pounding. She nearly went down at the hands of her own teammate. She quickly asks him whether he can see through the mist. Jin Shun can't dispel the mist, but he can see right through it. He raises his hand and fires an energy blast into the swarm of vampires. But ordinary attacks have little effect on the massive creature. Then he spots it. The vampire is trying to run. She's clearly heading for the gate. They have to cut her off now. Jin Sang-Hu hurls her spear with full force. It strikes the fleeing vampire hard, dealing a brutal blow. Jin Sang-Hu shouts the order, defensive units, seal every exit now. Everyone activates the hexagram formation at once. The gate is completely sealed. Now that they have her cornered, the real hunt begins. The vampire's mind races. After 10 years, she's only recovered 2/5 of her power. Nowhere near enough to take them on. Just 10 years. How have humans become this terrifying? She once swept across the Iceband continent as a feared vampire commander. Now all that dignity is gone, and she's being pushed to beg. She doesn't want to die. She dissolves into a cloud of blood mist and tries to slip away in the chaos. But Shadowcat materializes behind her without a sound. So this is where you were hiding. She's ready to finish this, right here and now. But the next second, she sees the vampire's minions throwing themselves against the sealed hexagram formation. Shadowcat's eyes go cold. She has to end this before the seal breaks. She strikes. Her blade drives straight and true into the back of the vampire's neck. But strangely, the vampire breaks into wild laughter. Her body dissolves into a pool of blood. It seeps straight into the cracks of the weakened formation. She bolts, her heart surging with triumph, convinced she's finally made it out alive. But the moment she bursts through the dimensional rift gate, a figure drops silently from behind. I hold the unconscious figure by the collar, dropped with a single chop. I raise my hand and summon the goblin. The goblin bows respectfully and asks what I need. The moment the goblin gets a clear look, even its usual composure shatters into a stunned cry. That's right, this is Sofran Lys, the vampire commander and one of the 4 monarchs of the demon realm. I hand her over to the goblin and tell it to seal her away. The Awakener Association is stronger than I expected. Disciplined, efficient, decisive, and not a single casualty through the whole fight. The destructive power and sharp judgment shown by their gearcraft is something truly fearsome. This world is nothing like the Iceband continent. It's full of exceptional fighters, people I can trust and rely on. The duty of protecting this world, I'll leave that in their hands. Still, the spoils from this fight are exactly what I needed. I turn to the goblin and tell it to bring out a tier 1 magic stone. I turn the magic stone over in my fingers. This is more than enough to start what I have planned. A reunion 10 years in the making. Back in the demon realm, not so long ago, a world where only the strong survive. The Demon King commanded 4 mighty rulers, the 4 monarchs, each with the power to bring the world to ruin. The 4th among them was none other than Sofran Lys, the vampire commander. Her vampire legions had racked up countless victories until they ran into me. Sofran still can't accept it. Thousands of her finest troops crushed under the boot of a single human. She barely escaped with her life, slowly rebuilding her power day by day on the finest blood she could find. She's not alone in this. The other 3 monarchs and the Demon King himself are in the same wretched state. Sofran despises me with every fiber of her being, swearing to tear me apart one day. Snapping out of that memory, Sofran's eyes fly open. She finds herself in a completely unfamiliar place. Before she can even process what's happening, I'm looming over her, offering exactly 2 choices: death or survival. Answer my questions honestly and she lives. Otherwise, she dies. Is the Demon King still asleep? The moment Sofran sees my face, she screams in horror. She can't believe I still look this young. She had counted on waiting 60 years for me to die of old age. No need to lift a finger herself. My patience runs out. If you're so devoted to him, I'll send you to join him. Sofran is scared out of her wits. She spills everything. The Demon King is asleep, and it will take another 90 years for him to recover. I press further. How much of her power has she recovered? Sofran doesn't dare lie. Only 2/5. That's the equivalent of 2 tier 1 monsters. For reference, every monarch of the demon realm can handle 5 or 6 tier 1 monsters with ease. Then why is she here? Sofran claims she accidentally fell through while she was resting. The Eye of Insight sees through the lie instantly. I move to strike, and Sofran shrieks in a panic, crying out that she came here to kill me. Monsters from the demon realm have been growing stronger, but one of the 4 monarchs showing up in person is something else entirely. Someone must be deliberately creating dimensional rifts to unleash these creatures. According to Sofran, the Demon King is still asleep, and the demon realm is in chaos. Endless internal conflict and war. The other 3 monarchs are also recovering their power. Sofran ranks 3rd among the 4 in terms of progress. Seeing that I've held back, she asks carefully, does this mean I'm letting her go? A promise is a promise. Sofran's face lights up. She thanks me over and over, convinced she's finally been spared. I summon the labyrinth and toss her straight inside. I call out to Mino and tell it, this is the new help. Fill her in on the labyrinth's rules and her duties. I leave. I have other things to attend to. The moment Mino takes a good look, it recognizes her immediately. Lady Sofran. Mino pulls Sofran aside and whispers its theory, that I've enslaved dragons and built an elite dragon army. Sofran turns it over in her mind. It all adds up. After all, the man has mastered 6 master level classes, and he doesn't age. Mino listens to Sofran's endless muttering from across the labyrinth and privately thinks about silencing her for good. It cuts off her rambling and starts laying out the labyrinth's rules. No attempting to escape. That means death. No work means no food. It pauses, and most importantly, eat plenty and build up that strength. Sofran never expected a rule like that, and just like that, the little restaurant has gained one more helping hand. The next time I step into the Minotauros labyrinth, every last hurl cattle is drooping with no energy at all. I glance over, and there's Sofran, blood smeared all around her mouth. Apparently she took Mino's advice about eating to build strength quite literally, and has been draining the hurl cattle dry. I sigh. Even so, there's no need to go this far. All that blood won't build power. It'll just add weight. I tell her she can ignore that particular rule, and to put on more clothes while she's here. Sofran's eyes light up. She rushes to show me something, asking if I'm pleased with the vegetables she's been growing. She used the hurl cattle's blood as fertilizer. Even she didn't expect the crops to grow this well. Sofran can refine blood, purifying all impurities into a healing liquid, while the extracted filth when combined becomes a potent poison. That ability will definitely come in handy someday. I pick some of the vegetables to use in the restaurant. I go outside and call for Khan to come help prep the vegetables, but he's still wallowing in the misery of being rejected, looking completely lifeless. My heart softens a little. He helps out every day while desperately searching for a way back to the continent. That takes a toll. I give him a few days off to rest and clear his head. Juju suddenly bounces over, shouting excitedly that she wants to go see the ocean. I notice that Juju can now tuck away her horns and tail with ease. If she can hold her human form steadily, a trip to the beach should be fine. Juju immediately drops to her knees in an overjoyed bow of thanks. That's clearly something Khan taught her. I shake my head with a quiet laugh and tell them both to go get changed. I hang up the close sign. One full day off, no business, no interruptions. Everything is ready. I scoop Juju up into my arms, and the three of us rise into the air. This is just one ability from one of the 6 classes I've mastered, developed for one purpose: to eliminate large numbers of enemies swiftly and without being seen. I don't explain. I just tell them both to hold on tight. And we fly toward the sea. We move fast, and in the blink of an eye, we're standing at the shore. This used to be a popular beach resort, but with the gates appearing, it's long since become a lawless zone. Khan and I settle onto the sand and watch Juju splash around in the water, just sitting here in the quiet. It's enough. I call over the goblin and tell it to bring out the fishing rod I brought back from the eastern continent. The goblin hands over Taigong Wang's fishing rod without a word. It was a precious gift from the eastern immortals after I helped them. Even without bait, it can pull up something massive, perfect for catching today's meal straight from the sea. The immortals once said fishing gives a person the stillness to look within. I still don't understand it. Every time I look within, all I find is regret. Besides, this rod does all the work itself. No need to think too hard. Before long, something takes the line. It's a tier 2 monster, a kraken. Juju is busy directing the water spirits to catch more creatures for me. I'm a little surprised. They've brought a fully grown gemin fish along with everything else. Unfortunately, gemin fish taste terrible and aren't worth eating, but I tell Juju she did a great job. Normally the bigger the squid, the more ammonia, which means a strong, unpleasant smell. But kraken are different. They use magic to regulate their own buoyancy, so there's no off smell at all. The flesh is incredibly tender and fresh. You can even eat it as sashimi. Back when I was with the Legion, my favorite was kraken broth. Too bad ingredients are limited today, so instead, I make butter grilled kraken legs and kraken sashimi paired with hoar cow milk. Juju stares at the food with wide, hungry eyes and keeps crying out that she wants some. I carefully blow on the sashimi to cool it down before handing it to her. Juju takes a bite and her eyes go wide. She shouts that I'm the best. Luminous drift through the air, glowing softly, beautiful to look at. They're a type of insect that feeds on the salt of the sea, giving off a faint light. The word salt hits me somewhere deep. I think of my father. He was originally from D-City, moved to a city later, but he never stopped longing for home. When I was young, after long shifts, he'd come home with soju and squid sashimi. We'd sit and eat together, just the two of us. I used to think getting into university was the finish line, but once I was there, I realized it was only the starting point. I took a leave and joined the military, thinking it would give me a direction. But when I came back, the whole world was struggling to find work. After graduation, my life felt like it had dropped into a pit. No dreams, no plan for the future. I became the person everyone talked about, the failure, the one the whole world seemed to blame. But is it really wrong to just want a quiet, ordinary life? The dream of making it into a big company. I let it go for good on New Year's Day, the year I turned 30. I bought a ticket to Noryangin. I was going to become a civil servant. My father sat across from me at a table that smelled of the sea, and he listened, and he believed in my choice. I made myself a promise that day. I would make it, and I would go home in triumph. But I never made it back. Khan notices something is wrong and calls my name, quietly. I push everything back down. It's nothing, I tell him. I pick up my cup and ask him to drink with me. Meanwhile, urgent voices crackle from an Awakener squad in the distance. A wanted monster is making a run for Eastern Seochu with a haul of magic stones. The target is carrying a large number of high-grade magic stones and heading straight for the lawless zone. They cannot let it escape Seochu. All units, begin the pursuit immediately. Back home, I tell Khan to go settle Juju to sleep. I stay behind to deal with the kraken we brought back. I look over the ingredients and think about what to do with them. Cold kraken salad or kraken rice sausage, both are solid options. But this time, I want to try something completely different. I cut the kraken into bite-sized pieces, mix breadcrumbs with a little oil, salt and water into a thick batter, coat each piece evenly, drop them into hot oil and fry twice, guaranteeing a crust that stays crisp and never goes soft. Fried kraken, golden and fragrant, is ready. Crispy on the outside, tender and springy within. The flavor is something else entirely. I usually reach for soju, but tonight I want nothing more than an ice-cold beer. A meow comes from nearby. I assume it's just a stray, but when I see the size of it, I freeze. It's nearly as large as a tiger cub. I use the eye of insight to confirm. It's just an ordinary cat. It must have accidentally swallowed a magic stone. Most animals that consume a magic stone die on the spot. Their bodies simply can't handle the surge of magic. Humans have developed the technology to use magic stones safely in daily life, but they remain dangerous. I set some kraken meat down in front of it. Despite its enormous size, the cat seems completely gentle. I flip open the newspaper and suddenly see a photo of the previous guardian, Han Do-kyung. Something about him feels familiar. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before, but not in another world. I just can't place where. Then a headline catches my eye and my chest tightens. Giant cat attacks on the rise. Civilian casualties increasing. My mind jumps straight to the cat. I spin around, but it's already gone. The next morning, I watch Khan fumbling around in a panic. I can't help but ask what on earth he's doing. He says pitifully that the stove broke, so he's been using his own dragon fire to boil the broth. The sight of him is so comical I can't help but laugh. I tell him to stop. There's already enough broth to last a while, and fixing the stove just takes a new magic stone. The familiar meow comes again. I look at the mice that's dropped at my feet and decline the offering with a mix of amusement and exasperation. Juju has decided the giant cat is a baby tiger. She runs circles around it, calling out big kitty and little tiger over and over. Before anyone can stop her, she's climbed onto its back and is riding it like a horse. Even so, the cat remains completely calm, letting Juju play on its back without the slightest complaint. I'm more certain than ever. This isn't the cat causing the attacks. Could there be others that swallowed magic stones too? The cat plays with Juju for a while, then quietly slips away. The gentleman corps captain pushes the door open and steps in. He's just looking for a simple meal. Zhang He and Lu Xin trail in behind him. They want to eat well before heading out to deal with the cat situation. Zhang He wants something light and refreshing. We happen to have fresh squid in today. The moment he says refreshing, I know exactly what to make. I bring out a fresh squid stir fry, hot off the stove. Zhang He's eyes light up immediately. He asks if there's steamed white rice. He mixes the stir fry right into his rice, the move of a seasoned food lover. I turn to the captain and ask if they're heading out to handle the cats after they eat. He nods. The cats behind the attacks are most likely survivors of an incident from a year ago. A year ago, a thief people called a monster stole a transport vehicle carrying tier 4 and tier 6 magic stones. After making off with the haul, he vanished without a trace. No one ever tracked him down. Nobody knows who he is. What they do know is that he can control animals of all kinds. During the pursuit that year, the flower wielder managed to cut off his escape route with vines, but he used a flock of crows as cover, not only using them to haul away the magic stones, but quietly releasing a large number of animals in the process. The captain recognized him as a hunter, not a high rank, but his control over animals far surpassed his own. The capture failed. They had to prioritize recovering the scattered magic stones instead. The phantom thief had made 30 cats swallow magic stones. 26 were recovered, but all of them died. The remaining 4 were never found. Animals that swallow magic stones gain tremendous power, but very few survive. The captain's mission now is to find and deal with those 4 surviving cats. The phantom thief was likely building something that required magic stones, but the exact reason is impossible to know. The lawless zones draw all kinds of outsiders. By the time the captain finishes talking, he's lost his appetite. He decides to leave right away. They find the surviving cats before long. The others didn't make it. The gentle giant is there, curled around its companions, shielding them with its body. The captain knows that a single move is all it would take to end this. The old case from a year ago, closed at last. He'd earn a commendation. His team would gain recognition. He keeps telling himself, don't let sympathy get in the way. Keep duty and feeling separate. That's the right choice. But can he really do it? The following evening, the captain is back at the shop. The moment he walks in, his expression is dark. He asks for something strong. All I have is fire liquor. High proof, but nothing refined. He takes it without complaint. Just bring it over. It's close to 60%, as fierce as sorghum liquor. Drinking on an empty stomach will wreck him, so I decide to add a dish of sweet and sour beef. We're out of pork, so I'll use the beef left over from last time. Beef sweet and sour is different from the pork version. It only needs a simple fry. Once the batter turns a deep golden color, I lift it out of the oil. One more pass through the fryer and it's done. I slide the dipping sauce across the counter and ask if he wants to use it. The dish is on the house. He insists on paying. Says he needed something to drink to, but he waves off the sauce and asks for plain salt instead. That quietly surprises me. Eating with just salt lets you taste the ingredient for exactly what it is. I didn't expect that. He's a real foodie. The fire liquor arrives, and the captain digs in. After a sharp cough from the liquor, he finally calls me over and says what's been sitting on his chest. When your head and your heart pull you in completely opposite directions, which one do you follow? I let out a quiet breath. Neither choice ever comes without a cost. On the battlefield, I faced this more than once. When a comrade fell, badly wounded, everything in me wanted to stop and help. But reason said keep moving, press on, break through, and more innocent lives would be saved. Either way, there's always a price. So the way I see it, every choice leaves something behind. But look at it the other way. Every choice also gives you something back. The captain is quiet for a moment. Then he asks, what if what you lose is money? I answer him straight. Money, in hindsight, rarely matters as much as it feels like it does right now. Hearing that, the captain visibly relaxes. He settles, tips back his glass and drinks it all in one go. I watch him. For a moment, he reminds me of the magic spearman. The flower wielder steps inside, then stops dead the moment she looks up. No wonder there was a vulture parked out front. The captain is here. She eyes the sweet and sour beef on the table and very much wants a bite. The captain is in no mood. He waves her off without looking up. He eats and drinks his fill, then gets up to leave. But he's far too drunk to walk straight. The flower wielder ends up holding him up. The moment they step outside, both of them freeze. The giant cat is standing right there in front of them. It gently sets down 3 mice it was carrying in its mouth. The captain lets out a short laugh. He understands immediately. This is its way of saying thank you. He just waves a hand and tells it to eat well. Then he staggers off into the night. The next day, Khan is carefully brushing Juju's teeth. He keeps reminding her to spit out the foam and absolutely not swallow it. That night, I sleep better than I have in a long time. No nightmares. The morning paper reports that all the magic stones have been recovered. It seems the captain paid out of his own pocket for those 4 tier 4 magic stones. Even for a guardian, that's no small sum. I don't hand out praise to many people, but he's earned it. He's something special, and he's going to be one fine guardian. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Association President's ability awakening. He has weathered 3 major upheavals and witnessed countless awakeners rise. And yet, those who stand against their ideals have never disappeared. For every person who wants to protect the people and rebuild the city, there is someone determined to tear it all down. 2 opposing forces locked in conflict. The fighting has never truly stopped. Until 10 years ago, when the monster siege changed everything, many broke away from their organizations and chose to walk their own path. He stares at the outsider activity report and sighs. Have they truly gone down a road of no return? Jin Shun is tuning his equipment. Maximum output speed is still too slow, but the newly installed artificial muscle is performing brilliantly. Movement speed has improved by nearly 50%. The gentleman pushes the door open. The monster he has been hunting keeps hiding deep in the no-man's zone, refusing to show itself. And on top of that, the legendary pallbearer has actually returned. If news of Jaeger's disappearance gets out, it will throw everything into chaos. That is exactly why the pallbearer has been quietly brought back, to hold the situation together. Everyone can feel it. Something major is about to happen. Meanwhile, Shadowcat is being hunted. A bat lunges out of nowhere and sinks its fangs into Li Jiafei's leg. She's furious and frustrated. Of all places, why the leg? This is going to slow her escape. Her pursuers close in fast, shouting that she's right there. Li Jiafei grits her teeth and runs for her life. At this very moment, Khan pulls out a map, preparing to head toward the gates in the northwestern no-man's zone. He rides the motorcycle I gave him with a big grin, savoring a sense of freedom he hasn't felt in a long time. But the moment he reaches the checkpoint, a guard shouts for him to stop and demands an inspection. The no-man's zone is in serious turmoil right now, so security is tight. He has to show his ID and verify his identity. After the search turns up no magic stones, they hand him a waiver to sign. It states that he is entering the no-man's zone of his own free will and accepts full responsibility for whatever happens. Khan steps inside, replaying the guard's words in his head, feeling uneasy. He takes a deep breath and officially begins his investigation. The first gate is a habitat for level 8 plant monsters. The next is a slime dungeon, where the monsters use gas as a weapon. It is so revolting he nearly gags. After a full day of investigation, he comes up with absolutely nothing. Khan's stomach growls relentlessly from hunger. The rumor said this place was crawling with monsters, yet he hasn't spotted a single one. None of them have any idea just how powerful the dragon's aura around him truly is. Just then, he catches a glimpse of 3 figures moving in the distance. Moving closer, he realizes there are more than 10 of them. Are these people awakeners? He turns and spots Shadowcat sprinting desperately to escape, but in moments they drive her to the edge of a cliff with nowhere left to go. The enemy laughs with open glee. The woman who has foiled their plans time and again has finally walked straight into their trap. Shadowcat's heart sinks. She knows how dire this is. Bat venom is spreading through her body, and her head is spinning. These outsiders live inside the gates. It took her years of tracking just to find this place. She has always relied on stealth and speed to stay one step ahead. She has never been cornered like this before. The one leading them is the very monster the gentleman has been hunting. He orders his men to take her alive. He still has many questions for her. As for the others, do whatever they want with them. Torture, abuse, it doesn't matter, as long as they leave one breath left. Shadowcat feels a wave of despair. Is jumping off this cliff really the only option she has left? Just as she wrestles with that impossible choice, a blue shockwave surges in, riding a blast of dragon breath. Every last foot soldier is swept away in an instant. The monster leader is scared out of his wits. He assumes a powerful awakener from the association has come to her rescue. He makes a split-second call and orders a full retreat. Judging by the aura alone, whoever is out there is at minimum a level 0 awakener. Every plan they have made will have to be completely scrapped and rebuilt from scratch. Shadowcat narrowly escapes with her life, but her mind is still completely blank. Her whole body is trembling. It's not the flames around her that frighten her. It's a deep, primal fear, something wired into the very core of her being. Her legs give out and she collapses. Khan catches her smoothly. He checks her over carefully and confirms the wound is from a bat bite. The forest around them is scorched black as far as the eye can see. Hours pass. Khan paces back and forth, at a complete loss for what to do. He remembers that a cold compress is needed after a bat bite to slow the venom. A healing ability would fix her up right away, but unfortunately that isn't something he has. He can't even bring himself to cut away her clothing and clean the wound to prevent infection. She's a woman, he's a man. He's too flustered to do it, but leaving it untreated will only make things worse. He keeps telling himself it's just first aid, just a small tear in the fabric. It doesn't mean anything. The moment he finally steels himself to act, Shadowcat wakes up. Khan leaps back several steps, face flushed all the way to the tips of his ears, scrambling to explain himself. He stutters out that he was just passing through on his travels and happened to find her. She notices the pain has lessened and immediately understands what he was trying to do. She thanks him quietly. Khan waves his hand stiffly, muttering that it's nothing, too nervous to say anything more. Another loud explosion rumbles in the distance, but Shadowcat's body is too weak. She can't move even a single step. Khan immediately steps in front of her to shield her. Shadowcat urges him frantically to leave. This place is too dangerous. Then Jinjun's voice cuts through the chaos. Seeing that she is alive, Jinjun finally breathes a sigh of relief and pulls out a healing agent. He turns and sees Khan, completely baffled. What is the restaurant owner's nephew doing out here? Khan nervously insists once again that he's just here traveling. Jinjun doesn't press further. The gentleman who has just arrived promises to send a thank you gift to the restaurant, but he insists that Khan leave this dangerous place as soon as possible. The outsider's base is very likely somewhere nearby, and Khan has no choice but to head back home. He tells me everything in full detail, including the part where he used dragon breath. I'm busy playing with Juju and don't think much of it. If anything, I think he did the right thing. Khan watches Juju slowly crawl from my hand up to my neck, then asks with a worried look, is that really okay? Doesn't it wear you out playing with this little troublemaker all day? Of course it's exhausting, but it's the only way to burn off Juju's energy so she can actually sleep through the night. Back at the Awakener Association, the gentleman and Shadowcat run an investigation on Khan and me. Everything comes back normal, just ordinary people. There are travel records of Khan moving through multiple no-man zones, all completely routine. The assessment report shows that both of our magic power readings are completely zero. Neither Khan nor I show a single abnormal data point. Shadowcat stares at the report, but the suspicion in her mind refuses to go away. If both of them are truly ordinary, then who caused that explosion? Was it someone inside the association, or a falling out among the outsiders themselves? And yet, even as she knew in that moment that whoever it was had saved her, every instinct in her body screamed at her to run. That fear was carved into pure instinct, stronger even than the terror of being hunted. But why would she feel something like that coming from the restaurant owner's nephew? That night, I dream of it again. The darkest, most desperate 10 years of my life. The Iceband continent, the vast eastern and western continents stretching beyond the horizon. I walked every last one of them. I scoured every ocean as well. I sought out the wisest scholars in the east and the greatest minds of the west, all for one single answer. Not a single one of them could tell me how to go home. And then, at the very moment I broke down and begged, a gate of light appeared out of nowhere. I froze, so stunned I couldn't even get a full sentence out. What in the world is this? With trembling hands, I reached out toward it. A tremendous force seized me and yanked me through the gate. The world before me shifted wildly. On one side, the wild and twisted demon realm. On the other, the pristine, untouched land of the legendary elven realm. And then another, a high-tech world teeming with mechanical civilization. Where was that? It was the most staggering thing I'd ever seen in my entire life. A blinding burst of light exploded before me, and I jolted awake, gasping for breath, wrenched completely out of the nightmare. The familiar sound of a broadcast fills my ears. It was all just a dream. I looked down. Juju is curled up in my arms, sleeping soundly. The broadcast continues. Jin Sang-Hu, magic spearman and guardian of Daesamon, has officially been promoted to level 1 awakener. The association now has 4 level 1 awakeners in its ranks. Their significance cannot be overstated. Level 1 awakeners don't just reassure the public, they intimidate enemies. Listening to the broadcast, I feel a quiet unease. Why announce this so quickly? Could it have something to do with the outsiders? At the Awakener Association, the mood inside the meeting room is heavy. The pallbearer, who vanished on a solo investigation 3 years ago, has officially returned today, unofficially recognized, yet possessing the full power of a level 1 awakener. This is the first time Jin Sang-Hu has ever laid eyes on the legendary pallbearer in person. His ability is classified at the highest level. Only the association president knows what it truly is. Every time the pallbearer speaks, his voice seems to come from all directions at once, making Jin Sang-Hu question whether this person is even human. Everything that has happened recently has left Jin Sang-Hu mentally drained. All he wants is a cold beer. Jin Shun immediately perks up. He drags Jin Sang-Hu into the little restaurant in broad daylight. Jin Sang-Hu is a little surprised to find that I ordered delivery too. I smile and explain. The kid at home just had a craving. Juju cheerfully invites them to stay and share the pizza. They are completely won over by how adorable she is and agree on the spot. I tell them to head inside and wait while I order a few more to make sure there's enough. After seeing the delivery rider off, I carry the pizzas inside and wave them in. Today's order is Boar Monster Cheese Pizza. I grab a slice first and hand it to Juju. Jin Sang-Hu and Jin Shun watch Juju and can't help but sigh. She really is unbearably cute. I smile and ask, the sun isn't even down yet. Since when do you two come out drinking this early? Jin Shun waves his hand and shows off a special ring that breaks down alcohol. No need to worry about getting drunk. He insists on demonstrating the proper way to make somek. He stacks 2 soju glasses together and pours soju until it's level with the rim of the bottom glass. Then he pours it all into a beer glass and tops it with beer until the level matches where the soju glasses stood. Finally, he taps the glass lightly with chopsticks. A perfect glass of somek is ready. They raise their glasses and toast to Jin Sang-Hu's promotion to level 1 awakener. The glasses clink with a crisp, bright ring. They barely had a few bottles when an emergency call comes in. They both use their rings to burn off the alcohol. Then they stand and say their goodbyes to Juju and me and head for the door before Jin Jun suddenly remembers something and doubles back. He solemnly hands me the updated association handbook so I can keep up with the latest information. I thank him and take it, but Juju points at the back cover of the handbook and shouts, "Magician!" I flip it over, curious, and the moment I see Han Do-kyung's photo, I go completely still. Those familiar eyes, that familiar face. It's my closest friend from my school days. That was such a long, long time ago. The years have changed his face and the way he carries himself, but those eyes haven't changed one bit. He dreamed of being a magician ever since he was a child, and now he's actually done it. Over the years, I've thought of him from time to time. I lived alone in another world for 30 full years, and then spent another 30 equally long years in this one. I once had a warm family and genuine friends, but too many of them have died or disappeared. I stopped longing for those connections long ago, and yet here is an old friend. Those distant memories have long since blurred with time, but the feelings behind them never faded. The gratitude, the grief, the simple joy of it all, none of that ever left. Snapping back to the present, I can't help but marvel at how much he has changed. Meanwhile, Han Do-kyung has just wrapped up his magic performance. After a quick exchange with the team, he turns to leave ahead of the others. He lifts the curtain, and a gate suddenly tears open in midair. He immediately reports to his teammates through his watch. The location is on the rooftop of the neutral tower on the outskirts of Maya Station. A gate appearing somewhere like this could cause mass casualties. It has to be dealt with immediately. Han Do-kyung raises his hand and transforms a playing card into a flying carpet. He leaps onto it without a moment's hesitation and charges straight into the gate. Even someone as experienced as him frowns slightly at what he finds inside. A swarm of cold, unsettling mechanical monsters. This place is stranger than anything he could have imagined. No time to dwell on it. The priority is to clear them out fast. He draws his trump cards, the Joker pair. He materializes the Joker's power into a physical form. In just a few swift moves, every last minor monster is wiped out with ease. His teammates arrive just in time. He tells them immediately, these monsters are far too weak. Something doesn't add up. Every dungeon has a boss level monster. Without fail. The words have barely left his mouth when the shattered remains begin merging together at a frantic pace. But Han Do-kyung deals with it all the same. He brings the mechanical parts from the dungeon to the Awakener Association's industrial division for analysis. These are a completely new type of monster. Threat level unknown. The gate appeared near Gongabuk, a ruined district, and it's packed with these mechanical monsters. Jin Shun studies them carefully and finds the design is surprisingly simple. They operate on the same principle as a clockwork-driven clock. The power core appears to use level 8 or 9 magic stones. The build is crude, and their ability to channel magic is extremely limited. But with such a rough design, how are they containing the raw power of unrefined magic stones? Could it be the material they're made from? He looks up at Han Do-kyung to confirm whether a boss level monster appeared in that dungeon. Han Do-kyung nods. The boss was too large to transport himself. He has already contacted the association, and someone is handling the delivery. Jin Shun thanks him quickly and asks him to please wait just a little longer. He recalls the intelligence the pallbearer reported earlier. The world's connected through the dimensional rift number far more than one. If the rift is linked to a world with advanced mechanical engineering, that is a serious problem. Jin Shun immediately has the researchers verify the material composition and magic signature of the parts. This might just be the key to solving the problem with Org. It could finally point Org's research in a new direction. The research will take time. Jin Shun invites Han Do-kyung to grab a simple meal together. I stand at the entrance of the restaurant, silently repeating the name Han Do-kyung over and over in my head, heart full of anticipation. I keep turning the same question over in my mind. If we really do meet, what am I supposed to say? My mind drifts back to childhood. It was a cooking class, the kind where parents were supposed to join in. Back then, there was nothing I disliked more than doing things together with my parents. My father's business had failed. Things at home got worse day by day, and the chances to see him grew fewer and fewer. I didn't want to be a burden, so I hid the notice about the cooking class. I dug out the cookbook at home and decided I would handle it on my own. But every recipe inside used expensive ingredients I'd never heard of. The fine dishes and fancy ingredients felt worlds away from anything I could touch. Then I turned to a page with tteokbokki and finally let out a breath. That I could do. But things went wrong almost immediately. The sauce kept bubbling over the sides of the pot. I kept my composure and told myself I could manage this alone. But either the heat was too high, or it came out way too salty. I scrambled to add water to balance it out. But after all that water, it was so watered down it had almost no flavor at all. The ingredients were gone. I just stood there completely at a loss. I kept telling myself it would be okay, but deep down I had already lost all confidence. I couldn't do this. And then, a voice came from right beside me, soft and easy. Is that tteokbokki you're making? He reached out to grab a piece. I panicked and tried to stop him, but Han Do-kyung ignored my protest and took a bite anyway. Then he turned and shouted to everyone around him, "This tteokbokki is really good." I was stunned and a little hurt. It tasted terrible. Why was he lying? He looked straight at me and said, completely seriously, that he was going to be a magician one day, one who could use magic to make anything taste delicious. Han Do-kyung said to turn the heat all the way up. Then he reached toward the pot and performed his magic. The other kids crowded around, curious, watching us make tteokbokki. At first they said it couldn't possibly be authentic without fish cake, but Han Do-kyung just picked up a spoon and invited one of them to try it. To everyone's surprise, after one bite the kid let out a genuine gasp of delight. I took a bite myself, barely believing it, and it actually tasted good. I asked him baffled how he had done it. The other kids swarmed around us at once, and my tteokbokki suddenly became the most popular thing in the room. I couldn't help asking again, but Han Do-kyung refused to share the secret for free. So I pulled out the only 500 won I had and offered to buy it from him. To my surprise, he had no interest in money at all. What he wanted instead was for me to walk home with him every day, and in that moment, I finally understood. He was alone too, so I agreed without hesitation, and from then on we walked home together every day. That was how Han Do-kyung and I became best friends, until the following year, when things at home got better and we moved away. After that, we lost touch completely. We weren't together for very long, but the gratitude I felt has stayed with me ever since. Back in the present, the tteokbokki in the pot has cooked to exactly the right point. Now I just need to reduce the sauce and let it soak all the way into the rice cakes. Then I take the remaining boar monster meat, fry up some chili peppers, and set it out for dipping alongside the rice cakes. Juju sidles up right on cue and announces she wants meat. I tell her to go play for a bit. This dish needs a little more time. Juju agrees right away, surprisingly well behaved. Before she goes, Khan swoops in and scoops her up, sneaking a quick kiss on her cheek. He's proud of his role as the older brother. It gives him every right to shower Juju with affection. But then Juju walks straight over to me and plants a kiss on my cheek instead. Khan is beside himself with envy and chases after her, demanding his own kiss. Just then the door swings open. The newcomers greet Khan and Juju right away. Then comes a familiar voice. Jin Shun walks in, and Han Do-kyung is right behind him. Seeing my old friends so suddenly like this, my mind goes completely blank for a moment. I manage a stumbling greeting. You, hello. I tell him I just made tteokbokki today, and if they want anything else, I'm happy to make it. Tteokbokki? Han Do-kyung doesn't hesitate for even a second. That sounds great, he says. Some tteokbokki, please? Owner. He places the order just like that. I feel a quiet pang of disappointment. He doesn't remember me. But of course he doesn't. 50 years have passed. No one could be expected to recognize someone after 50 years. Old friend, I truly want to congratulate you on making your dream come true. I'm Jiang Jihao from back then. Do you remember me? I want so badly to just say that out loud, but I can't. It would only frighten him. Soon, the special secret tteokbokki and the fried chili with boar monster are both ready. Jin Jun takes one bite and immediately can't stop praising it. He enthusiastically urges Han Do-kyung to try some. Han Do-kyung takes a bite and his brow furrows ever so slightly, as if something in the flavor is familiar to him. He seems to have picked up on exactly what's in the sauce. It's a taste he knows from somewhere. Tteokbokki like this is meant to be enjoyed with a group, he says. They immediately invite me to join them. Just then Juju toddles over and points out that Han Do-kyung has sauce on his beard. Han Do-kyung laughs and turns it into a game with her right away. There's a card hidden in your new outfit, you know. He tells her to hold on to it. Juju does exactly as she's told. A second later, flowers appear out of thin air. Juju lets out a delighted shriek. Han Do-kyung tells Juju to bring the flower to me, then invites me once again to join them for tteokbokki. Juju comes running toward me, flower held high. I smile and say yes right away. Then Jin Shun's watch lights up. The test results are in. All thoughts of eating vanish instantly. He says a hasty goodbye and rushes out. After Jin Shun is gone, Han Do-kyung turns to me and asks whether I added instant noodle seasoning to the tteokbokki. The question stirs something in him. He begins to recall an old memory, a friend he used to play with. Back then, his family didn't have much. They couldn't afford expensive food, but he was good at making tteokbokki with instant noodle seasoning. The two of them would always eat until they were stuffed, then talk for hours about their dreams. His dream was to become a magician. He loved the way people's faces lit up when they saw a trick, but for a long time he was no more than a third-rate performer, drifting from one local theater troupe to another. Even so, he was happy. Then the world changed, and he awakened the magician's ability. Whenever the struggle became too much and he thought about giving up, he would think of that childhood friend. He would think of the white clouds outside the half-basement window, the warm breeze, the days they played until the sky went dark before heading home. Even now, he is still holding on to that dream. He will protect everyone. He will make people smile. After all, he is both a guardian and magician, still carrying the dream of that boy he used to be. That is truly wonderful. I am genuinely happy for him from the bottom of my heart. He finishes eating before long and gets ready to leave. Before he goes, he wants to exchange names. What's your name, owner? I'm Jiang Jihao. I say it calmly, evenly. Han Do-kyung takes a few steps, then pauses and looks back. Something about that name feels familiar. Jiang Jihao, he murmurs under his breath. Jihao. He turns it over slowly, reaching for the memory. Jihao. And then it comes. The old promise. A child's voice echoing across 50 years. Just watch. I'm going to be a magician someday. He turns back to look at me, disbelief written across his face, and sees my young face staring back at him. He lets out a soft, self-deprecating laugh. Of course not. How could it be? Welcome back anytime, old friend. I say it only in my heart. I walk alone to the riverside and stand there in quiet stillness. The river that was once called a open sewer has become remarkably clear. Not far along the bank, a turtle lies on its back, legs kicking helplessly, unable to right itself. I walk over to help, and when I pick it up, I realize it's actually a large soft-shell turtle. The moment I set it back in the water, it darts away in a flash, faster than I expected. Then a streak of silver cuts through the water, a school of plump, lively salmon. This is the peak season for salmon, when the flavor is at its finest. They push upstream through the churning current without hesitation. Fish that strong will taste extraordinary. Today's ingredients are decided. Then the same soft-shell turtle swims back into view, throwing everything it has into crossing the whirlpool ahead. I watch with curiosity, but in the end it fails. My stomach chooses that moment to remind me it's empty. The menu is already decided. I get up and head home. The finest salmon once came from the northern countries, rich in fat, perfect in texture. Domestically farmed salmon tends to run smaller and leaner, with noticeably less flavor. But there has been no international trade for a long time now. Just catching salmon at all is something to be grateful for. Preparing salmon is a painstaking job though. The delicate flesh is full of fine pin bones. I work cleanly and efficiently, removing the backbone down the center. Then I work through it finger by finger, pulling out every hidden bone. A light wipe with salted water removes the fishy smell and firms up the flesh. The leftover head and bones go straight into a pot for stock. Nothing wasted. Then I slice the fresh fish by cut and set it aside. Everything is ready. All prepared. I can't resist picking up a piece to taste first. Rich aroma and luscious fat flood my mouth at once, the tender flesh melting between my teeth. Salmon this good pairs best with a fine drink or a bowl of rice, and I need to get breakfast ready for the children anyway. Then, a rapid knock at the door. This early, and someone's already here? At the door stands a small, thin boy. He asks quietly for a bowl of rice. From his worn-out clothes, he's likely one of the stray children who drift around behind the market. The careful, hesitant way he stands says he has been turned away more than once. That will not happen here. I agree immediately and invite him inside. I turn back and set the freshly made salmon rice bowl in front of him. He starts eating immediately. In big, eager mouthfuls. He devours it ravenously, then quietly asks for a glass of water. He wipes his mouth, content and satisfied. He reaches into his pocket to pay. I was about to tell him the first customer of the day eats for free, but what he holds out is a small collection of shells and pebbles. Something feels off. I activate my eye of insight, just as I suspected. He is not human at all. He is a soft-shell turtle that is cultivated into a spirit creature, quite possibly the same one I saw struggling at the riverside. His combat power and ability read is nearly zero, weaker than an ordinary person. What a strange little encounter. To help him get past that whirlpool, I decide to go collect some special materials, and as it happens, I have questions of my own to ask. The maze gate. I put up a disguise over the entrance to keep the vegetable supply running smoothly. The Minotaur has long since settled into life here. His full name is a mouthful, so I just call him Mino. Having a personal nickname for me means your survival odds have gone up considerably, though I'll admit I still occasionally eye him with a certain appetite. Solvine has gradually found her footing here too. The once proud member of the demon race has become a perfectly ordinary country farmer. Then, out in the fields between the furrows, they spot a walking onion. Mino catches it with the look of someone someone who has genuinely seen everything now. He even wants to keep it as a pet. Solvine is immediately on the same page. She agrees at once. Together they give it a name, Dada. Then they start debating where to keep Dada. Conveniently, Mino just broke a new patch of ground. Perfect place for Dada to live. Life on the farm is peaceful, far more settled and comfortable than either of them ever imagined. This sense of calm is something they never dared to hope for back in the demon realm. Just as they are happily talking about this new life ahead of them, Dada wanders off and gets wedged in the crack of a door. By the time they notice, Dada's little body has already turned purple. Their faces go pale, and they let out a blood-curdling shriek. When I walk in, I find a minotaur and a vampire huddled together, wailing over an onion. What in the world is going on? When I hear it was a walking onion, I understand immediately. I get a fresh onion from Mino. A while back, the flower wielder got drunk and accidentally brought all the vegetables to life. Apparently, one slipped through the cracks and made it all the way to the Maze Gates fields. Seeing how attached they are, I decide that from now on, any vegetables that come to life will go straight to them. I leave the living vegetables in their care, take some rice and vegetables for myself, and get to the point. I ask whether the Demon King only ever invaded the Icebound continent, just that one dimension. Solvine answers honestly. The Demon King only ever invaded this one place. He never set his sights on anywhere else, because they didn't come here willingly to begin with. That answer settles something heavy in my chest. But Solvine only knows the basics about other dimensions. Beyond the demon realm, the elven realm, and the middle realm, there are two more unknown dimensions. I fall into thought. Last night, the clockwork craft left in a hurry. Curious, I went to the village and found a large cargo truck. On it was a massive clockwork puppet. Technology far beyond anything this world has produced. This very likely comes from one of the other dimension civilizations I glimpsed on my way back. A mechanical world, connected here through a dimensional rift, which means the number of worlds linked by the dimensional rift has grown by one more. Solvine speaks up suddenly. When it comes to the secrets of other dimensions, the Demon King may know more. But given the current situation, there is no realistic way to get to him. I nod calmly, but inside my mind has already formed a conclusion. The dimensional rift is expanding. No one knows where it ultimately leads. Whether it is a trial meant to forge humanity stronger, or the beginning of a catastrophe, no one can say. The next day, Little Turtle comes back. Khan spots at a single glance that he is a soft-shell turtle spirit creature. After eating his fill, Little Turtle politely thanks us, leaves his payment, and turns to go. I nudge Khan right away. Let's quietly follow and see what he does. We reach the riverside before long. The little boy stands in the water, and in the next moment shifts back into a soft-shell turtle. Jiang He and Lucian happen to be passing by and catch sight of it too. They're a little surprised to see us here. They ask what we're doing. I point ahead and gesture for them to watch. Little Turtle is attempting to break through the whirlpool. The words have barely left my mouth when Little Turtle gets pulled in again. Lucian genuinely can't understand why it insists on this path. Wouldn't going around on the bank be so much simpler? But spirit creatures are born with a certain kind of fixation. I once knew a dog spirit whose every thought was bound to its former owner. It sat in the same spot motionless for decades, waiting for an owner who had long since passed from this world. And then there was the fox spirit that came to my door not long ago. Its entire obsession fixed on a single magic stone. The price they pay in pursuit of what they are bound to, that becomes their growth. And yet, for all the spirit creatures I have witnessed, I still cannot understand the stubbornness of theirs, this determination that borders on foolishness. A few days later, Little Turtle shows up again, looking defeated, and tells me it wants something to eat. This is already the 6th day. After so many failed attempts, it's only natural to feel crushed. My expression turns serious. I decide to bring out my prized aged salmon. The belly of the salmon is, without question, the finest cut there is. It has a gentle, distinctive aroma, rich and fat, silky on the tongue. Not the most chewy, but the flavor is deep and satisfying. I used to think I could eat salmon belly every day and die happy, but on the battlefield you don't get to be picky. The pot bubbles and steams away. The spicy salmon soup is finally ready. Today's special, an aged salmon set, salmon sashimi paired with a spicy salmon soup. I give Little Turtle a word of encouragement. Today will be the day. Little Turtle thanks me with quiet sincerity, then heads back to the river after the meal. It takes a deep breath, lets out a fierce cry at the whirlpool, and launches into the challenge. With all of us watching, Little Turtle charges at the whirlpool one more time. The next second, it happens. It breaks through. Everyone erupts in shock. It made it. Right before our eyes, its body begins to rapidly expand. My eyes go wide. It's now even larger than Juju. This is a true transformation. Just like a nine-tailed fox grows more tails after consuming a magic stone, a spirit creature transforms the moment it fulfills its deepest obsession. Something clicks inside me this time. My combat power has been stuck at the level of 6 professional masters for a long time. I've been lost, unsure of the path forward, but in this moment, it hits me. Perhaps my own breakthrough also begins with something small and seemingly insignificant. Late that night, in the no-man's zone near the old council hall, a man steps into the Arcgate shrine of the dungeon. What is it? The one at the center looks up and welcomes his arrival. She is Eve, a level 0 awakener and future prophet. Beside her stands Shadow Brother, a level 2 awakener and guardian of the Outsiders headquarters. Shadow Brother speaks in a low, grave tone. Eve has seen a new prophecy. Show us. Eve raises her hand and replays the vision. The image unfolds. The no-man's zone in the southeast of Yongsan. In the prophecy, the entire world appears to be split in two. Then everything is swallowed by a thick purple haze. Just as Eve is about to continue, she breaks into a violent coughing fit. She covers her mouth, but blood seeps through her fingers. Even so, she forces herself to keep going. Very soon, the world will be plunged into chaos. A being of overwhelming power will descend upon this world. The rest of the vision remains blurred. She can only wait for the prophecy to resurface. But one thing is certain. Something terrifying and immensely powerful lies dormant in the city where the association stands. It is so powerful that no one can see it, touch it, or even find it. Eve's prophecies have never been wrong. Shadow Brother issues the mission. The destination is Dazeman. The agent must conceal his identity and gather all available intelligence. If an opportunity arises, infiltrating the association building directly would be ideal. Level 1 Awakener Black Mamba will accompany him. Monster is surprised. The Outsiders have only 3 or 4 level 1 Awakeners. Black Mamba is a top-tier spy and assassin. Working alongside someone like that will significantly boost the mission's odds. Monster nods, then asks about the fire type ability user from before. Shadow Brother confirms it was Li Jumyoung, a level 3 Awakener, but that level of power is impossible for a level 3. The association has only one publicly acknowledged fire type Awakener, and nothing beyond that can be traced. Monster clicks his tongue and decides to approach this mission by targeting Blade Queen first. He can't help but ask, when will the suppression serum be ready? It's the serum that holds back Eve's mana rampage. Incredibly difficult to produce. Eve forces herself upright and insists she's fine. He should go and move forward. He steps out through the dimensional gate without hesitation, because for Eve's sake, he is willing to pay any price. In the Hongtai district of City A, Blade Queen is restless, with an uneasy feeling that something is off today. Could it be because that new recruit vanished without notice? A level 3 fire type Awakener, a rare talent. She'd been thrilled when she first heard he was joining. Now he's gone without a word. She can't stop wondering, did she come down too hard on him yesterday? Just then a sinister presence surges from behind. She snaps into combat readiness instantly, but Monster appears behind Blade Queen without making a single sound. Her eyes narrow. She recognizes him immediately. Beast Tamer. She triggers the alarm at once. Enemy spotted at the Hongtai intersection. It's the Beast Tamer. The next second, a swarm of rats floods in under his command. Blade Queen quickly orders her teammates to evacuate civilians, but to her shock, Beast Tamer has no intention of attacking. He doesn't even acknowledge her. Charging straight past toward his target. Blade Queen's stomach drops. That direction. It leads straight to the association. She sends out the alert immediately. Level 2 Awakener Beast Tamer is closing in on association headquarters. The association president shakes his head in disbelief. How did Beast Tamer come to this? He used to be a guardian. He once gave everything to protect the people. Not quite on the level of the Gentleman Corps, but a master of stealth and misdirection. In urban combat, his agility and cunning were unmatched. During the Monster Siege 10 years ago, his performance was nothing short of brilliant. Who could have imagined he would become an enemy of the association? Based on everything he knows about him, the president is certain this is a diversionary tactic. The Outsiders have recently been after the association's classified files, and the two best at going unseen are Nightmare and Black Mamba. They fought side by side for 10 years. He knows that whoever slips in will cause enormous damage. The president immediately asks Pallbearer to set up a defensive barrier. Pallbearer nods, and and moves to the rooftop to begin laying out the barrier. I'm walking home with Juju. She chatters away, buzzing with excitement about tonight's dinner. Then an unusual presence flickers past. I spin around. Something shoots past me at blinding speed. That level of concealment puts them at least on par with Shadowcat, possibly even above her. I focus my gaze. A man in a form-fitting suit. He heads straight for Association headquarters, but the moment he reaches the entrance, a powerful barrier stops him cold. The barrier's strength is far beyond what he anticipated. Whoever set this up must be a master-level awakener. He remembers that 10 years ago the Association had no one like this. He reaches for his blade to tear through the barrier when a figure darts in front of him. It's Shadowcat. She trades several exchanges with Black Mamba, cutting off his next move. They lock eyes. Both know exactly who the other is. Black Mamba speaks with a trace of amusement, saying he doubts Shadowcat can hold him alone. Shadowcat smiles. She never planned to face him alone. Your real opponent isn't me. The words barely leave her mouth when a spear cuts through the air. Jin Sang-hoo arrives just in time, taunting Black Mamba. Surprised an old man like him still hasn't retired. Black Mamba is genuinely caught off guard. That little kid from back then has grown into this. Meanwhile, across the city, Beast Tamer and Blade Queen are still locked in a standoff. Blade Queen is growing anxious. Beast Tamer is clearly trying to force the situation into chaos. If things spiral out of control, the Guardians will be at a serious disadvantage. A blast of freezing energy surges in, sealing both of them inside an ice barrier. Che Yan arrives just in time. The moment she sees Beast Tamer, the name slips out before she can stop it. Yan Wu. Her eyes are red. She demands to know where Eve is. Beast Tamer stays silent, clearly unwilling to say a word. Then a telepathic message from Black Mamba reaches him. The plan has failed. They have a powerful barrier awakener on their side. Fall back. Beast Tamer doesn't hesitate. He turns and leaves without a second thought. He leaves with a simple "until we meet again" and vanishes. Blade Queen is furious and frustrated, but there's nothing she can do. I float in the air, watching it all unfold below. Not a single casualty in the entire confrontation. That alone makes it clear. They weren't here to kill anyone. During the fight, Blade Queen left herself wide open countless times. Beast Tamer could have dealt a devastating blow at any moment, but he ignored every opening. There's something deeper going on here. Something no one knows about yet. Then again, I decide it's not worth digging into. Juju is waiting at home for dinner. At the Temple Mercenary Corps headquarters in the Daesamun district of City A, the newspaper reports on yesterday's disturbance across the city. No casualties, fortunately, but the public outcry is relentless, demanding that the Awakener Association pay taxes even as they risk their lives to protect the city. Lu Xun reads the anti-association comments and shakes his head. These people have lost their minds. Jiang He speaks calmly. What we protect has never been objects, it's people. And people's hearts are the most unpredictable thing of all. Even if you give your life doing good, you won't only hear praise. That's just reality. But to attack the very Guardians who throw themselves into danger to save lives, Lu Xun feels a chill run through him. Without Guardians fighting with their lives on the line, this place would already be hell on earth. His brother Jaeger gave his life to protect this place, and this is how people repay them? Do they actually want every last Guardian to die? Jiang He gives his shoulder a quiet pat. Just endure it. This is our fate. In a world like this, those with strength are meant to bear the burden and willingly share it with others. Back at the restaurant, Juju is the first to wake up, as always. She gently pats my head, then presses a sweet good morning kiss on my forehead. I'm fast asleep and don't feel a thing. She shifts into human form right away and gets ready to head out for the day. A small wave of her hand and her water spirit appears. She pulls on her shoes and she's instantly bursting with energy. Done. Let's go. She pushes open the door and calls out, "Little tiger, come on." She leaps onto the big cat's back. Off they go. The two of them dash deep into the forest. The big cat brings Juju to the graves of its companions. Something glittering beneath the soil immediately catches her eye. She reaches down and pulls out a magic stone, then a second, then a third. She remembers what I told her. If you cause trouble for someone, you apologize with a gift. So she holds one out to the big cat. The big cat snaps it up and crunches it apart. Energy surges through its body instantly. The next second, it expands dramatically in size. Juju stares with wide eyes. Curious, she takes a bite of one herself and immediately spits it out. Absolutely disgusting. She tucks another one into the big cat's mouth, and after they're done playing, she rides back home on its back. Along the roadside, a lively giant ramen eating challenge is in full swing. The host is cheering loudly, congratulating a contestant who just finished the giant ramen. Juju's eyes light up on the spot. The moment she walks through the door, she shouts at me, "I want giant ramen." I worry she'll upset her stomach with something that greasy in the morning and steer her toward pork cutlet instead, but she's covered in dirt. She has to clean up first. While patting the dust off her clothes, I notice level 4 magic stones in her pocket. No wonder that cat grew so much. I let out a sigh. As long as they're safe and healthy, that's what matters. I hurry them along to get cleaned up. I turn and head into the kitchen to start preparing today's dish. There are many ways to make pork cutlet. The version in my memory used thin slices of pork, fried up and served with soup and bread. A simple, satisfying meal. Today I'm going with thick cut loin for a seriously fragrant loin pork cutlet. The market just got in a fresh supply of top-grade Boar King loin, but Boar Kings have been showing up more and more often lately. Could the connection point between this world and the demon realm be expanding? A soft sound comes from the entrance. Food God walks in with a smile. I smile and greet him. It's been a while. Haven't seen any of the Guardians around lately. Yesterday the association put up a powerful barrier, not something an ordinary awakener could manage, a master-level dual barrier. So the outsiders' attacks aren't over yet? I push the thought aside and turn back to him. Just a moment. It'll be ready soon. While the meat fries, I start preparing the signature dipping sauce. I picked up a special recipe Worcestershire sauce from a handcraft shop. The aroma is unlike anything else. I blend it carefully. Worcestershire sauce mixed with salted mustard soy sauce. The door swings open again. I tell the young man the menu changes daily. Today, it's pork cutlet only. The Boar King loin pork cutlet comes out fresh and impossibly fragrant. His eyes light up. This cut is massive. He takes one bite and freezes. This is unreal. It's so good, and it's priced the same as anywhere else on the market. He can't believe it. You could charge double for this, and it would still be worth every bit. He devours every last bite, then immediately orders another. He turns and spots Food God. The young man straightens up and introduces himself with pride. "I'm Zhongin Chang, the rising star competitive eater of this city. I've always wanted to meet you, Food God." Food God immediately orders another plate. My heart sinks. I can already feel it. Today is going to be nonstop. The two of them go all out, eating without pause. This is already the 12th plate of pork cutlet. Food God stares at the empty plate. He finally concedes defeat with a helpless sigh. By the rules of the trade, the one who loses pays the bill. Zhongin Chang leaves with a grin, already looking forward to the next showdown with Food God. I stand there completely stunned. I never imagined anyone could out-eat Food God. Food God wipes his mouth and orders yet another plate. That's when it hits me. What just happened was only the limit of his normal human state, and he seems to genuinely enjoy this kind of challenge. If someone dares to challenge me, I will always accept. Next time, he will win. In just 1 week, Food God is utterly defeated. Zhongin Chang laughs and promises a rematch. He leaves for the outer zone of Daesamun tomorrow to join a construction project. Gone for at least 2 months. That area is packed with gates and monsters, extremely dangerous. But Zhongin Chang is relaxed about it. Awakeners will be on site, so it should be manageable, and the pay is excellent. Once the project wraps up, he's done with hard labor for good. He's going to open a small shop that sells nothing but instant noodles. I decide to send them off properly and make a bowl of instant noodles. Food God can keep eating even if he uses his ability. Better make a big portion. 2 steaming servings of instant noodles are set on the table. Zhongin Chang is won over instantly. This is exactly the flavor he loves most. Zhongin Chang is an orphan. He grew up in an orphanage in Yongsan and started doing physical labor as soon as he was old enough. Because money was always tight, whenever there was good food, he stuffed himself as much as he could. Over time, it just became the way he ate. Only a full stomach could get him through the bitter cold, the scorching heat, and everything else that came at him. On most days, instant noodles were all 3 meals, but somewhere along the way, he fell in love with that flavor. That's why he wants to open a noodle shop, a place that's truly his own, where every bowl is piled high with noodles and every person walks away completely full. Juju comes running over, holding up some eggs. "Mr. Big Eater, here are some eggs for you." Zhongin Chang smiles and takes the 2 warm-boiled eggs. Juju shakes her head with a serious look. "And this one is for Food God." He looks at her, and something warm stirs in his chest. What a kind little kid. Zhongin Chang waves with a wide grin. "Next time we settle settle this properly. Food God nods. Deal. But his eyes carry a worry he can't quite hide. The no man's zone is genuinely dangerous, but with awakeners involved, even the most perilous jobs can be handled. This kind of urban expansion has always been driven by the Awakener Association, reclaiming the no man's zone and building safe zones piece by piece. That's how humanity slowly, painfully reclaims what civilization once was. Just then, a strange purple haze quietly seeps into the maze. Mino's nose twitches. He catches the scent immediately. Something terrifying. Unease washes over him. Soulvine, I'm sensing something strange. It only lasted a moment, but it was unmistakable. That is the scent of the demon realm. Lately, the demon realm's presence has been surfacing more and more. The connection point between this world and the demon realm is growing wider. Soulvine's expression darkens. Buried within that scent is something unmistakable. The Demon King himself. If the Demon King truly returns, she cannot defy his orders. War may be unavoidable. Time flies. 3 full weeks pass since the construction project began. Food God shows up at mealtimes every single day and stays for hours, but without his eating rival around, he seemed a little lost. These days have been unusually quiet enough to feel unsettling. There are occasional anti-association protests near the market, but nothing that gains much ground. Food God continues to worry about Zhang and Cheng's safety. I turn on the radio hoping to ease his mood. The radio hums softly. On a quiet and lovely night like this, who do you find yourself thinking of? The words stir something unexpected inside me. A flood of images burst through my mind. Companions I once fought alongside, the bonds forged on the Iceband continent, the immortals and spirit creatures I encountered on the eastern continent, battlefields thick with smoke, friendships burned into memory, companions who fought by my side, the unruly, impossible to manage dragon race, and Aramil Rentero, someone I once looked up to with everything I had. Then a sharp alarm cuts through everything. Food God drops his payment and rushes out. The next second, an emergency broadcast blares. A massive gate has opened in the no man's zone under construction. The moment it opens, countless monsters come pouring out in a frenzy. The Awakener Association has mobilized and is fighting with full force to contain the crisis. Around the gate, the purple haze grows thicker and thicker. That familiar, terrifying presence, the Demon King. I burst out the door. In the no man's zone outside Daesamon, the gate before Shadowcat is noticeably larger than the last one. The thick, suffocating purple haze makes every inch of her skin crawl. Shadowcat pushes forward with everything she has, but keeps ending up back where she started. Panic surges through her. She has to get her people and the trapped workers out before the gate fully opens. Then the ground shakes violently. The gate begins to open. Inside is a twisted world soaked in purple. A desperate cry for help reaches her. Hello, please someone help us. My name is Zhang and Cheng. We have injured people here and there are more hiding over there. Shadowcat is about to tell him to move the injured to safety first when a massive dinosaur-like creature suddenly appears. Shadowcat forces herself calm and directs Zhang and Cheng toward the safe zone where her teammates are, but monsters are closing in from behind as well. She recognizes them immediately. Level 1 monsters Balutus, smaller than the Digorex, but terrifyingly fast and savage in nature, and right now there are 6 of them. Shadowcat crushes down the panic rising in her chest and draws her daggers, doing what she can to hold the monsters back and buy precious time for the people behind her. Then, at the most critical moment, a surge of blue energy appears out of nowhere. The Balutus don't even have time to react. They are instantly reduced to ash. Every single boss level monster is wiped out in an instant. The scene is exactly like the mysterious force described in previous reports. A scent lingers at Shadowcat's nose, something that smells almost like pork cutlet. Meanwhile, in the Demon Realm, the royal castle of the Demon King's city lies in ruins. This place has always lived by one rule: the strong rule all. But the Demon King himself, along with the 4 monarchs, was utterly crushed by a human and lost most of his power in the process. Word of the defeat spreads fast across the Demon Realm. Many begin to eye the Demon King's throne. But what troubles the Demon King most is the man who swept through the northern Demon Realm 10 years ago, and he is closing in. And it's not just him. Humans who enter the Demon Realm see their power skyrocket, which has already forced 3 of the monarchs to surrender. Even Soulvine has gone missing. In his current state, he has no chance of holding off his enemies. Resentment burns through him. He refuses to lose the throne like this. Then a gate appears behind him without warning, the same kind that once summoned them to the Iceband continent. His eyes sharpen. A strategic retreat to regroup. Perhaps that is the play. This time he will learn from his mistakes. Miro, Legacy, and Jaeger will pay for what they've done. Once he regains his full strength, the Demon Realm and everyone in it will be his to command. At the massive gate, the workers are scared out of their wits and running for their lives. A winged dark figure shoots out from the gate. A nearby Awakener trembles uncontrollably. The Demon King looks down and demands to know the name of this world. The person across from him stares back in blank terror, barely able to string words together. Even so, the Demon King catches something sharp in the accent. This is not the language of the Iceband continent. A smug smile crosses his face. He activates his power of dominion, scanning this world for any demon race signals. But this world has almost no powerful demon race presence. Soulvine, however, is here. The Demon King forms a plan. Teleport to Soulvine's location first. He hasn't even started moving when a fist slams directly into his face. I didn't actually expect the Demon King himself to show up here. The Demon King sees my face and goes pale with horror. How are you here? I don't bother with words. I send him flying with one punch. He flees straight to Mino's maze. Soulvine drops to her knees in a panic. The Demon King grabs Soulvine in a frenzy, shouting that Miro is here in this world too. That madman looks just as young as ever, not a day older. Mino quickly adds that he can still command dragons. The Demon King feels like the sky is caving in. Soulvine and Mino both urge him to just surrender. They already have. The Demon King can't believe what he's hearing. This has to be a nightmare. He is the 14th Demon King. He will never surrender to a human. The words aren't even out of his mouth when I appear again. Another punch sends him flying. I speak, cold and flat. I tell Soulvine to bring him to me. I stare him down. Did someone force you here or did you run? I've heard that the Demon Realm has been in constant turmoil. In his current state, he's clearly losing ground. The Demon King roars in outrage. How dare you insult me? I am Eknes Kateshiva Rohan, the 14th Demon King. I run out of patience and throw another punch. Say that full name one more time and I will end you. I give him 2 options. Ek or Rohan. Pick one. Soulvine rushes to smooth things over and urges him to go with Ek. It rolls off the tongue easier. The Demon King grits his teeth and chooses Ek. Smart enough. I raise my hand and summon the goblin. The goblin steps forward and bows respectfully, then screams the moment he lays eyes on Ek. The Demon King. What is he doing here? Ek is about to launch into his full name introduction. Soulvine breaks into a cold sweat. He'll get himself killed. I genuinely want to, but there are things only he may know. For the sake of getting answers, I hold back. I turn to the goblin and order him to retrieve that thing. Shadowcat files a report on the massive gate incident in the no man's zone outside Daesamon. 87 injured, 0 fatalities. A mysterious force appeared once again, silently resolving a crisis of unprecedented scale. The identity of this person remains unknown, but the raw power to instantly eliminate level 1 and 2 boss level monsters with a single strike, it's beyond any known measure. Whether they are enemy or ally, no one can say. Shadowcat is determined to find out who this person is. Meanwhile, Juju plays with a dinosaur plush toy, insisting that Ek put clothes on it. Ek is privately stunned. This little kid in front of him is actually a dragon, and so is that red-haired boy over there. But because of the restraint band, he has lost all his power. His stored mana is sealed away, and he's been reduced to the form of a child. He doesn't even want to think about it. Has Miro Legacy actually conquered the world? Juju refuses to let it go, pushing Ek until he has no choice but to dress the toy. Ek stares at the little dragon and resigns himself to the task. The dragon race, somehow far more adorable than he ever imagined. Khan looks deeply unconvinced. Is that kid really the Demon King? He worries something might go wrong. I assure him with complete confidence. Not a problem for at least 10 years. The restraint band on Ek's head is the real thing. The moment he feels the urge to kill, it tightens instantly. The pain will leave him completely immobilized. At his original power, he could have broken free, but with his strength stripped away, a master level restraint band is more than enough to hold him. His current power level is roughly on par with Khan. When we open for the day, I call Ek over to work, wipe the plates, wash the dishes. Ek is furious enough to snap. He is the 14th legitimate Demon King. How dare anyone order him around like this? The next second, the restraint band activates. He writhes on the ground in agony, every shred of dignity gone. Shadowcat pushes through the door and greets everyone with a smile. Khan immediately panics and stumbles over his greeting. Shadowcat orders her usual salad. Ek takes one look and sees right through her. An elf. Elves, dragons, and Mirror Lakasi all in one place. He's starting to wonder, is this really not the Eisbein continent? By the time I bring out her salad, Shadowcat has already fallen asleep from exhaustion. At the hospital, Zhang and Chang flips through a newspaper running stories about heroic deeds from the incident. Food God comes to visit. Zhang and Chang is filled with gratitude. His life was saved by Food God's daughter. Life has a way of turning in ways you never see coming. He used to fight just to survive while people looked down on him. Now he's a known name, and the donations pouring in exceed everything he earned in his entire life. But he knows the truth. He wasn't the one who saved anyone. It was Shadowcat who stepped forward. And that mysterious figure, one flash of light and every monster was gone. Zhang and Chang is filled with longing. He wishes more than anything he had power like that. Food God looks at him and quietly says he's grateful he made it out alive. It means a great deal to him. Shadowcat finally stirs awake. She blinks disoriented for a moment, then quickly apologizes for dozing off. I wave it off. Guests are always welcome to rest here. I slide the salad over to her. I added a special ingredient, something that will help ease her fatigue. From the back kitchen, Khan calls out, asking whether the cutlet looks right at this point. Shadowcat's nose twitches. She wonders what they're frying back there. She inhales more carefully and goes still. That scent is so familiar. It's exactly the same scent she caught when she was surrounded by monsters. She slams her hand on the table, about to say something. Then she looks up, meets my eyes, and swallows it back down. Nothing. It's nothing. She must just be exhausted from back-to-back meetings. Her mind is playing tricks on her. After all, both I and Khan have been tested. Our mana readings are 0. The following morning, the harsh sunlight is unbearable for Ek. The demon realm is always wrapped in purple haze. There is never sunlight this bright. His throat is dry and he goes looking for water, but catches sight of Khan sleeping soundly nearby. He is the 14th demon king, and this person sleeps right in front of him without a single shred of caution. He's about to get angry when the memory of writhing in the maze flashes back. Acting out right now will only make things worse for himself. Just wait. Once he recovers his power, every single one of them will answer for this. Ek reaches for the faucet, and Juju, half asleep and mumbling, points him toward the well instead. Ek scolds her. She shouldn't speak to him so casually, but Juju is too sleepy to keep her eyes open and drops right to the ground, fast asleep. Ek frowns. She can't sleep here. My 3 house rules flash through his mind. Rule 1, take care of Juju. Rule 2, wash the dishes properly and do the work. Rule 3, be polite to customers. Do not use any power. Break the rules and face the consequences alone. Ek's expression is pure misery, but he picks Juju up anyway. The moment she's in his arms, something unexpected catches him off guard. She is so warm, soft, carrying a faint floral scent. Nothing like the demon realm. There are so many things here that the demon realm could never have. What a strange place this is. Ek watches everything happening in the restaurant in silence. My day is about as simple as it gets. The first thing I do after waking up is step outside for a smoke. He's heard it's bad for you, so he spitefully mutters a curse. Smoke more, he says. Just kill yourself with it. The moment that thought crosses his mind, the restraint band kicks in, and he's writhing on the ground in pain. I don't quite understand, but I don't say anything. I head inside, do a quick sweep of the place, then settle down with the newspaper. When the time comes, I head out to the market to pick up fresh ingredients. Back at the restaurant, I get to work preparing the meals. As the aroma slowly fills the air, Ika is clearly starving, but he's too proud to admit it. One by one, human customers trickle through the door. After the last customer leaves, I sit down for drinks with Khan, the older of the dragon kids. A world this quiet and peaceful. It couldn't be more different from the demon realm. No killing, no fighting, just calm, easy days. The kind of place you don't want to leave. This strange, soft feeling, it's almost irritating. Meanwhile, outside the Awakener Association, a crowd of citizens is demanding answers for the destruction of their homes. The patrol officer, a familiar face from the restaurant, explains helplessly. The damage is too widespread, the team is too short-handed, but they're doing everything they can. Listening to the accusations being hurled at him, Choi Jae-woo questions his own career for the very first time. He gets grabbed by the collar and humiliated. He gets hit for no reason at all. And yet he truly is doing everything he can to help. But deep down, there's an emptiness he can't shake. Awakeners are the world's shining stars. Patrol officers are just background extras. The thought terrifies him. Is this really all his life is going to be? He works himself to the bone every day, and nobody notices. If he vanished tomorrow, no one would even care. The thought leaves him bone-tired, inside and out. He doesn't want to do this anymore. The moment that thought takes hold, he makes up his mind. He's quitting. Dead drunk, he greets me with a smile. Long time no see, boss. It's his first day off and as long as he can remember. To mark the occasion, he wants to come sit at the restaurant for a while. I give a warm nod. Ek grumbles with a scowl. Didn't you say we were closing? You even made me sweep the floor. What are you staring at? Seeing this, I quickly turn to the customer. This is my nephew. He's going through a rebellious phase. Very rude, I know. I'll have a word with him. Please come in. The moment the customer steps inside, I give Ek a thorough beating, then I turn back to the customer. My nephew will come and apologize to you personally. I'm truly sorry for the unpleasant welcome. Have you eaten? He shakes his head and tries to say he has no appetite, but his stomach lets out a loud, perfectly timed growl. I smile and suggest, how about some of my freshly made marinated seafood? His eyes light up. Of course he's in. Who could ever say no to marinated seafood? This time I've prepared 2 different kinds. The first is soy marinated kraken, a whole kraken slow cured to perfection. The second is soy marinated archerfish, made from archerfish roe. The roe looks almost identical to pollock roe, but the flavor is far richer and more complex. The key to great marinated seafood is top quality ingredients and top grade salt. So this time I use sea salt. Before long, a full marinated seafood set is ready to serve. I remind him. A drizzle of sesame oil takes it to another level. The squid has that perfect chewy bite, and it instantly brings back a tasty nose. Savory, salty, and just the right kick of heat. The kind of food that makes you want to drink to go with it. With something warm in his stomach, life finally comes back into him. I feel relieved seeing this. I haven't seen him around lately, and I've been worried something had happened. He's quiet for a moment. It's a long story, he finally says. His family had always been ordinary people. Nobody special going back generations. His father came from a remote village. Moving to the city was like going to a foreign country. His father ground his way into university through sheer determination. Only after landing a company job did he finally find his footing, and he always told his kids that getting into a good university was the only real path to success. But Choi Jae-woo was never cut out for academics. No talent for sports, no natural charm to win people over. Hearing this, something stirs in me. This all sounds strangely familiar. He barely scraped into a university, the most unremarkable one imaginable. Just as he thought he'd drift through college with nothing to show for it, the world fell apart. Nothing was ever the same again. Awakeners appeared. Gates opened. Humanity stepped into a new era. And yet, as expected, he was still that same invisible nobody, always left outside the main current of the world, always the side character who didn't matter. He was trying so hard to live his life, and yet he couldn't stop asking himself, is this really all there is? I've never been good at listening. Even worse at offering comfort. But 30 years ago I went through the exact same thing. The words someone once said to me back then, maybe they can reach him now. My father once told me, my choices were never wrong. Life is a road full of thorns. Some stretches are good, some are bad. Life is like sailing through a storm-battered sea. When everything goes dark around you, the ground beneath your feet is the right path forward. It's like a lighthouse, guiding you through the chaos, no matter how lost you feel. When I finish, I feel like I may have overstepped. I apologize. The customer's eyes go red. No, thank you for caring. He takes another bite of the roe and lets out a genuine compliment. The ingredients you use must be incredible, boss. I nod. That's right, I use only the finest sea salt. He looks surprised. I had no idea salt could make such a difference. Without salt, I explain, the marinated seafood spoils in no time. And even if it doesn't, without salt, it's completely bland, flavorless. Salt looks like nothing special, but when it comes to making something truly good, it's irreplaceable. The kind of thing you can't help but be grateful for. Something that looks unremarkable, yet earns your deepest gratitude. Those words seem to hit something deep inside him. He looks up at me. Boss, have I been doing a good job? I meet his eyes. Sir, I have always been grateful that you exist. He completely cracks. Tears well up in his eyes. Ek walks over at that exact moment and delivers his apology. Stiffly, painfully stiffly. The customer quickly waves it off. I'm fine, but thank you, boss. Next time, I'll be back as a patrol officer. Patrol officers have never been unimportant. They are the most vital link between ordinary citizens and the Awakeners. They bridge two completely different worlds, and perhaps it's because of them that humanity is able to live in peace at all. His choice was never wrong. It was, and always has been, deeply important. Outside the restaurant door, a mysterious cloaked figure quietly turns and walks away. At the forge registered under an Awakener's name, Smith is hard at work sharpening his weapons. He's a craftsman who specializes in weapons built for taking down massive monsters. This time, he's also embedded a level 1 magic stone into Jin Sang Hu's weapon. The mana response is flawless. Keeping the bodies of high-level monsters fully intact is a miracle in itself. The quality of materials extracted from those bodies is almost beyond imagining, and every single monster was brought down in one hit. Whoever did it struck with pinpoint precision, each one going down instantly without a struggle. That's exactly why they've been able to collect such an enormous quantity of magic stones and materials. The entire Awakener Association has been searching around the clock for this mysterious master, and they've come up with nothing. One-hit kills on high-level monsters. That's the territory of a level 0 combatant. It means whoever this is holds at least 3 master-level classes. No one in this world has ever held 3 master-level classes. If someone like that truly exists, why stay hidden? Why only step in during major disasters? The association has absolutely no answers. Juju and Big Cat are out playing when they make another discovery. Juju shouts with excitement. They found another gem. She urges Big Cat to hurry up and eat, and the two of them are having a blast. Then, a strange sound breaks the silence. Both Juju and Big Cat freeze at the same moment. Big Cat leaps forward and pins the thing down, then drags out a goblin that had been hiding nearby. The goblin's stomach is growling with hunger. Juju remembers what I've always told her. Never look away from someone who needs help. She scoops up the trembling, terrified goblin without hesitation, calls for Big Cat, and heads home, goblin in tow. Back at the restaurant, the moment Ek gets a good look at the goblin, his expression sours completely. He can't stand filthy goblins. To him, they're scrawny, grimy, and absolutely disgusting. And to make it worse, by the look of it, this is a treasure goblin, the kind he despises most of all. Treasure goblins love stealing other people's valuables and stuffing them into their own pockets. He wants to deal with it right then and there, and the restraint band punishes him for it immediately. I'm not at the restaurant, so Juju rushes to Khan for help. The goblin is starving. Khan finally sees his moment. He's going to cook something worthy of praise, just like I do. The thought fills him with a rush of confidence and he bursts out laughing. This meal is on him. By the time I return, the restaurant is filled with smoke. Khan is blasting fire directly at a piece of meat. Juju holds out a completely charred chunk to the goblin. I stare. What exactly is going on here? Khan, are you trying to cook the meat or use it as firewood? I glance at the goblin and pause. My eye of insight picks it up immediately. This is a gourmet goblin. Goblins are a special species with an extraordinary range of evolutionary paths. As the weakest type of monster, scholars have always kept them as a top research subject. Gourmet goblins are famously picky eaters, but once they taste something that truly satisfies them, they always offer a treasure in return. Juju proudly takes full credit, beaming with delight. The gourmet goblin must have wandered through a gate somewhere and stumbled right into Juju's hands. I take out a jelly treat and hand it to Juju as a reward. Seeing how happy she is, I make a note to prepare more of them going forward. Now, I need to figure out what the gourmet goblin actually wants to eat. I summon my own goblin to communicate with it. Saves the trouble of a formal introduction. After a brief exchange, I learn the deal. Cook it a proper feast and it will offer a treasure in return. It used to live high in the mountains where giant birds nest. The eggs of those birds were its favorite thing in the world. I think it over. A giant mountain bird. Could it be the thunderbird? Avalon? Then it hits me. I actually bought a monster egg not long ago. No Avalon egg, but something even rarer. A Bruta egg. A level 3 Phoenix egg. Staggering in both power and nutrition, and the flavor is clean, rich, and beautifully smooth. Perfect paired with hoar cow milk, transformed into a top-tier Omoris. The secret to great Omoris is the egg. It has to be thick and perfectly rounded to be truly good. The leftover egg mixture doesn't go to waste either. It becomes a rolled omelet and a fresh broth on the side. Finally, I slice open the Omoris, and the Bruta egg set is complete. But when the gourmet goblin realizes it's a Bruta egg, fear flashes across its face. Back in its homeland, the Bruta was the most terrifying creature imaginable. I can't force it. I tell the goblin, enjoy the meal, and you're free to go. No treasure required. The gourmet goblin relaxes. It takes a tiny, cautious bite, just one bite, and its eyes go wide. Its eyes light up with pure joy, as if it can actually see the hoar cow and the Bruta themselves. In the next instant, it transforms into a refined food connoisseur. It even sprouts a mustache. Ek looks more disgusted than ever. Seeing the goblin's look of pure satisfaction, I know the meal has hit the mark. The gourmet goblin gives a light, dignified cough and solemnly hands me a jar. Since it's offering willingly, I accept without hesitation. Ek sees it out with a grimace, muttering that he hates goblins even more now. When this thing gets hungry again, it'll probably just move on to the next place. I open the jar with curiosity to see what's inside. Meanwhile, Zhang and Chang's brand new noodle shop has just officially opened. Zhang and Chang beams with enthusiasm, calling out a warm welcome to every customer who walks in. He eagerly asks about preferences and stops mid-sentence, frozen, standing there, staring blankly at the goblin that just walked through his door. Elsewhere, Shadowcat is still piecing together the strange events of recent days. Belth's unexplained death, the Mandrake and Daceman vanishing without a trace, trouble at the Magic Crystal Mine dungeon, even the city's expansion, all of it centered on the Daceman district. When she was being hunted down, the one who stepped in to save her was the restaurant owner's nephew, Khan. That ordinary little restaurant must be connected to that unknown power, the terrifying flames that drove the outsiders back with a single move, and the restaurant owner's nephew appearing right there at the scene. Why was it that particular place where they crossed paths? Was he really just out traveling? The more Shadowcat thinks about it, the less it adds up. She pulls up my file again and reads through it word by word. Previously resided in City F, a city that has long since become a no-man's zone. No known family. The only listed connections, Khan and Juju, and Ek, who appeared out of nowhere recently, with no civilian registration on record whatsoever. Could there be a hidden past? In times like these, that wouldn't be unusual. None of those kids look anything like me, but dwelling on that doesn't seem to lead anywhere useful. After turning it over and over, the most suspicious piece is still Khan, a man who walked into a no-man's zone alone, yet registers as a perfectly ordinary person with no detectable mana. Then Shadowcat latches onto something. Whoever controls that unknown power holds at least 3 master-level classes, but the association's mana scanner can only detect up to 2 master-level classes. No one in this world has ever been that powerful. But in her original world, there were people like that. They just didn't fall into this world with her. The powerful ones who fell alongside her back then have since become enemies. If any of these people truly hold more than 2 master-level classes, the file the association has on them is worthless. But all of this is still just guesswork. To get real proof, she'll have to move. I look at the ingredients I just brought home and let out a quiet sigh. Barely enough to get through today. But the number of people eating here keeps growing. Should I start buying more? The moment the thought surfaces, I catch myself. I've started thinking of them as family. There was a time when every one of them stood against me, when we faced each other with weapons drawn. Back then, all I wanted was to wipe them out completely. And yet now, looking at them, I somehow see my younger self. The same confusion, the same loneliness, forced into a world they never chose. He had imagined countless times what it would be like to have a home. He never expected it to look like this. He clicks his tongue, getting sentimental over things like this. He must really be getting old. Inside the restaurant, Khan and Ek are hovering nervously over the jar the gourmet goblin left behind, clearly up to something. Just a little sip. Seriously, just a tiny bit. Nobody will notice. Drink what? A calm voice comes from directly behind them. Both of them are scared out of their wits. My gaze settles on the plum blossom jar. I can't help but smile. This is the treasure the gourmet goblin gave me. It looks completely ordinary, but any water poured inside is transformed into a rich, fragrant rice wine. Since you both want to drink, let's make a proper night of it. Good food, good wine, time to unwind. Ek's expression shifts. This is absolutely not the time to be relaxing. That elf is still watching us from the shadows. Her stealth ability is no joke. I stay completely calm. Shadowcat's surveillance. I've known about it for a while. Ever since she visited the restaurant, she's had her suspicions. Shadowcat's stealth technique is genuinely top tier, but to my eyes, every little move she makes is completely transparent. It's like a child trying to sneak something past a grown-up. In moments like these, pretending not to notice is the polite thing to do. Ek still doesn't get it. He can't stand elves deep down. The moment moment he lays eyes on one, he loses control. Before he can finish, Ek suddenly clutches his head and lets out a piercing shriek. Juju rushes over and gently pats him on the back. Ek goes pale. Damn restraint band. I crouch down beside him. My eyes go cold. I hate the demon race too. Every last one of them. Ek gives up arguing and asks, why don't I just use this overwhelming power to take over the world? You have power even I can't match. Isn't it a waste to just let it sit there? The strong ruling over the weak, that's just the natural order. And power comes with responsibility. If the strong don't hold the world together, it collapses into lawless chaos. If you have no goal, then what was the point of becoming the strong? Ek looks utterly disappointed. Someone who even he can't stand against, and this is how they choose to live. He gets completely ignored for it. He scoffs. Fine, then I'll tell you something. I know the demon realm's aura better than anyone. I can clearly smell different kinds of mana here. This world is already connected to the demon realm. On top of that, I can pick up the elven aura, something completely opposite, and the cold mechanical scent of the machine world. I know about all of it. But lately, there's something else, an extremely dangerous aura, quietly spreading. That direction. Ek raises his hand and points. Something over there is radiating a heavy demon realm aura. The no man's zone north of Dacimen. Gates are scattered all over that area. A connection to the demon realm wouldn't be surprising. But the problem is, the outsider's base is located in that exact same area. But what's stranger, it's not the scent of the demon race. It's something specific to black magic. What he doesn't say out loud, there's also an overwhelming, suffocating smell of blood soaked into that place. He has no idea how humans got their hands on black magic. But whatever the method, it's brutal and vicious, without a doubt. The corner of Ek's mouth curls into an amused grin. Looks like things are about to get interesting. If he said everything right, it would ruin the fun. He looks at me. So, aren't you even a little curious what those humans are planning? I know it too. Peaceful, uneventful days are not a bad thing. But the moment I stop moving, this body starts to rust. The gate in front of me has long been fully cleared. Nothing left inside. So I come here, just to move my body every once in a while. Like right now, alone, in the middle of a training session no one knows about. First, wind magic. Countless long blades tear up from the ground and launch into the air. Then they come, screaming toward me at full speed. Then comes the technique that lets me take blades head on. Supreme body arts, pushing the physical form to its absolute limit. And then, power strong enough to carve out an entire world. The radiant wings, commanding absolute force. 6 master level classes, all held by one person. Power that has long stood at the very peak of this world. And yet this strength, unmatched by anyone, brings nothing but emptiness. Even with all this power, I still couldn't stop the dimensional rift. Is a god controlling the dimensional rift? A god? Then why connect Earth to all these other dimensions at all? If fate was already decided, then why give me power like this? My life feels like it skipped the most important part, the part where you grow. It leaves me drifting hollow again and again, a person with no direction forward. Can someone like me truly attain a 7th master to level class? I step out of the gate. The sun is almost up. I have to get home before Juju wakes up. But just then, the ground beneath me gives a violent shudder. An earthquake. My chest tightens. Juju is still at home. I have to get back right now. In the next instant, I flash home at full speed. Khan is already holding Juju, tucked into the corner of the wall. The moment he sees me, he demands to know where I've been. Thankfully, Juju is still sound asleep. Dragon nests deal with earthquakes all the time. To him, this is nothing new. Once I confirm Juju is safe, I turn straight to Ek. Is the earthquake connected to the black magic? Ek shakes his head. The black magic earlier was on the outer edge. This epicenter is much closer. The black magic aura is incredibly dense. Something special must be hidden nearby. And right now, a large number of powerful fighters are going all out to claim it. The fewer humans there are, the smoother my plan to conquer the world. The restraint band activates before he can finish. I decide on the spot to go investigate. I tell Khan to keep an eye on Juju. Ek scrambles after me, insisting I take him along. The two of us move fast, arriving at the chaotic no man's zone in the northeast. At the center of the battlefield, Jin Sang-Hu is holding his own against 2 opponents at once, facing both Archer and Nightmare alone. Arrows and spear crash against each other with brutal force. Mana explodes outward, sending a terrifying shockwave through the air. Jin Sang-Hu grits his teeth and falls back, but the enemy catches the opening. Hardman lets out a wild laugh, ready to press the advantage and end the fight right there. But before he can land, a cold blue bolt of mana slams into him. This area has drawn together an extraordinary number of well-known fighters. Jin Shun shouts for Jin Sang-Hu not to worry. He'll handle Hardman. Jin Sang-Hu should focus on taking out the most dangerous one, Archer. But Jin Shun's ability is a direct counter to Nightmare's, and the situation is turning bad fast. And then, a figure appears. Nightmare greets her with a smile. Shadowcat's eyes are pure hostility. A level 1 Nightmare, working alongside a level 2 Archer and Hardman. That alone says the sword thereafter is far from ordinary. Nightmare was once one of their own, just like Black Mamba and the Beast Tamer. 10 years ago, they all turned traitor and joined the Outsiders. But the one who's truly a problem is Archer. His marksmanship is almost supernatural, and the damage he deals is devastating. Nobody outside knows anything about him. He doesn't operate like a normal person. They quickly divide up targets and assign each one. Shadowcat plans to take on Nightmare herself and lock down her abilities. But Black Mamba launches a sudden ambush. He's not about to let them have things their way. From above, Ek watches the 2 elves clash and finds himself intrigued. But the one who actually puts him on edge is the top-tier fighter watching from a distance, staying completely hidden. I have no interest in any of this fighting. I activate my Eye of Insight, that is, the Covenant Sword. No wonder there's been a persistent demon realm aura hanging over this whole area. Ek explains. The demon realm is divided into the north and south. The southern demon race has mixed bloodlines. Only the pure-blooded demon race of the north has the right to contend for the supreme throne of Demon King, and he is the 14th Demon King, the one who united both north and south, rightfully and legitimately. That's a lie. I call it out coldly. Which part was it that started being false? Ek goes pale. He admits he only unified the northern demon realm. While launching his assault on the south, he was forcibly summoned to the Icebound continent. While he and the 4 monarchs were being suppressed by me, unable to fight at full strength, a human named Jaeger broke into the demon realm and carved out a foothold. Ek lost that battle for the Demon King's throne and fled. I'm satisfied that he's finally telling the truth. Then I press further. What does the assault on the south have to do with the Covenant Sword? It turns out there's an altar at the very center of the demon realm, one that only a Demon King can enter. Whoever draws the Covenant Sword gains enormous power. Anyone can draw it, but humans can't withstand the power of the demon realm. Once the demonic energy seeps in, they lose their humanity and go berserk. Jaeger was only mildly corrupted by the demonic energy, and even that was enough to turn him utterly savage. Before he can finish, Ek sees what I'm doing and screams, "Hey, what are you doing?" Blinding light engulfs everything in an instant. No one can see anything. I use the moment to walk toward the Covenant Sword. Ek screams, trying to stop me. Even if you pull out the Covenant Sword, how could you possibly endure the demonic energy? Once you fully lose control, there is no one in this world who can stop you. Shadowcat immediately recognizes it. This is the same mysterious power from before. She orders everyone to hold their positions immediately. She had always thought this unknown force might be an ally, but the overwhelming killing intent radiating outward catches her completely off guard. This is no longer simply someone clearing monsters. What she's sensing right now is the aura of an apex predator, one that cannot be matched. If they stay in this area, they will get caught in it. Shadowcat and Jin Sang-Hu make the call without hesitation. Retreat. Even Nightmare is shaken to the core by this mysterious force. Has the association actually managed to create a level 0 awakener? She realizes one wrong move, and the entire squad is finished. They have to run now. The demonic energy within the Covenant Sword screams and rages. It whispers to me over and over. Draw it. I pull it free. Every ounce of power sealed within the sword is released at once. I fix the emerging demon creatures with a cold stare and growl, "Get out of my way!" Every single one of them freezes, and then they shrink back in fear, retreating into the crystal within the sword. Ek is stumbling over his words. What is happening? Where did all this come from? Enormous forms materialize before me once again. Ek's eyes go wide with shock. Is this really the 8 tribal ancestors of the demon realm? Beings who vanished long ago? How are they sealed inside this sword? The southern demon realm was ruled by 8 great tribes, the 8 great tribes who govern the entire demon realm. The 8 tribal ancestors all bow in unison. We greet the Demon King. Summoned by the sword we have come to serve. Then they get a proper look at me and freeze. An ordinary human? The Demon King seems to be over there, they they say, eyeing Ek with disdain. Just some unremarkable little brat. They exchange glances. Who exactly is the sword's master? Neither of these two looks the part. A lowly human, daring to be this disrespectful toward us. The words lowly human push me completely over the edge. Demonic energy surges around me. Eek panics and rushes forward to smooth things over, announcing himself as Ek, the 14th Demon King. The ancestors cry out in shock. 1,000 years have passed. They are the 8 tribal ancestors sealed inside the sword by the first Demon King. The first Demon King had prophesied that the barriers between 5 worlds would eventually collapse. Each world would give rise to its own king, and the dimensional war would begin. So they chose to be sealed away, waiting for the moment to help the reigning Demon King unite the demon realm under one rule. The ancestors look around. Is this the human domain? Then let's start by spreading disease to eliminate the humans. Resurrect the undead legions. Ek can't hold back. You idiots. Do you really think mindless slaughter does the demon realm a single bit of good? I raise my hand and sweep every last one of the rowdy ancestors back into the magic stone. Only one remains, a massive serpent. It goes completely dead silent. Alright, now tell me honestly, what exactly did the first Demon King say? The Demon King said the kings of 5 worlds would clash fiercely. One day, the 5-dimensional kings will gather at a chosen battlefield. The moment it finishes, it begs desperately for its life. I raise the Covenant sword and cut it down anyway. These 8 tribal ancestors each carry the strength of at least 2 master level classes. They're far more dangerous and unpredictable than expected. Every single one must be eliminated before they can do damage to this world. Ika stares at the transformation of the Covenant sword in disbelief. What happened to it? I didn't just kill the demons inside. I erased the inscriptions and reduced the sword to an antique. Ek is furious. That sword is completely worthless now. The moment Juju sees me walk back through the door, she rushes over with a smile. No more earthquakes after I left. Everyone is sweeping up the restaurant. I don't want them to worry. I say nothing about what happened. 5 dimensions. The war of the dimensional kings is coming. I hold the title of World King on the Aesban continent, which means I am one of the 5. And Ek, the Demon King of the Demon Realm, he is another. Have the kings of the other dimensions already arrived in this world too? Ek genuinely can't understand it. Why did I bother saving those humans? He knows I have no desire to rule this world. So what's the point of protecting them at all? Because they're giving everything they have to protect this world. That moves me. But this has already gone beyond the boundaries of dimensions. This battle belongs to me alone, and I honestly have no idea what I'm supposed to do. I call his name softly. Thinking about it any harder just gives me a headache. Might as well stop. I tell Ek to head to the market and pick up some ingredients. Time to make dinner. Ek heads out to run the errand, visibly disgruntled. Halfway there, a strange and familiar scent hits him without warning. This is an aura that can only come from the demon realm. Black magic. And the mana mixed into it is far more complex and terrifying than anything he's ever encountered. Who is secretly using black magic to create something? Then again, this is a human problem. He can't be bothered to waste energy on it. Just let them tear each other apart. The moment that thought forms, the restraint band hits him hard. He doubles over in pain, clutching his head. Damn restraint band. Always at the worst possible moment. Then a snack shop on the side of the road catches his eye. Snacks it is, he decides with an absolutely scheming grin. Back home, Juju is playing dress up with Big Cat. There you are, little dragon. The next second, he's holding out chocolate and chocolate pies. He teases her on purpose, waiting for what he's owed in return. Juju leans in and gives him a soft little kiss. And in the next instant, Ek freezes completely. He watches as I do absolutely nothing. And Juju walks right up and gives me a kiss on her own. Ek completely cracks. He demands to know, how do you make it look that effortless? He's willing to trade valuable intelligence for the secret to winning Juju over. He swears on his chest. A demon king never lies. I tell him slow and easy. Just spend 10 hours a day playing with Juju. That's all. Don't let her just ride around on Big Cat all day. Keep it up for 1 week, and she'll be following you everywhere on her own. Ike lights up like he's struck gold and agrees to the deal immediately. He's noticed that certain humans appear to be using black magic to create something dangerous. The demon realm had something similar. He's not sure if they're the same thing. And the blood sent from the no man's zone is overwhelming. They're clearly still in the experimental stage. Hearing this, I can't help but suspect the outsiders are behind it again. They always manage to pull dangerous things into their orbit. Does the Awakener Association know about this yet?